Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and welcome to another ENFP male interview. Today, I get to interview Cole. So, Cole, welcome, man.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, dude. So, can you tell us what your full type is?
INFJ blast play consume sleep audio.
All right. So, what did you think, and how did you feel when you got your results back?
What how did I think? Initially, I was surprised because when I got into OPS or when I even got into MBTI January 2020, initially, initially when I got because how I got into just the whole personality and psychology and initially is that a friend of mine was heavily interested into temperaments. You know the four temperaments: melancholic, phlegmatic, sanguine, choleric. Right. So then every single time she tried to type people, I would say, "Oh, you're this, you're this, you're that," and then I was like, this is too limiting." Right. So then eventually I started doing some research online and I was like, okay, what is this all about? And then after I got into the field of psychology and then MBTI. Then after 4 times 4, which is 16 MBTI types, then once I discovered OP around the same time, right? And then I was like, oh, 512 types. I was like, whoa, okay. So then that's how I got into. What was your question? I'm so sorry.
It's all good, man. By the way,
Yeah.
I like how info dominant you are. You are like so accurate with the information.
Yeah.
Um, my question was, what did you think, and how did you feel
Okay.
when you got the
How did I
results?
feel?
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised because initially when I actually got into, uh, as I said, the story I was just telling, right? I always thought I was an INTJ initially. So then when I got NIFE, I was like, whoa. Then after some time, after a couple of weeks, I was like, okay, I'm starting to see the the parts kind of play out. Because I always knew I was, in a sense, I was tribe above self. It's just I always thought I was NITE. But now NIFE, that's the type I got. Yeah. And what was the second part of your question, sorry?
Well, I asked you how you felt and what did you think,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
think
So yeah, I think I can. Yeah, yeah. Go on, go on.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's all
So
good.
yeah, yeah, I was surprised in a sense. That then I was like, okay, wow, interesting. But it didn't throw me off too tough because, yeah, it didn't throw me off too tough because I started to realize, okay, but the blast play consume sleep. I kind of see because that's kind of one of the extroverted ones of the INFJ types. I do see that because initially, even when I was even getting into OP itself, when I was watching the classes and when I was like, I'm probably more towards. I can see how others can see how I am a bit more on the extroverted side, almost like like a bit, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
let's talk about that since you already brought it up. So you are a
sure.
blast play crackhead. Talk about being a blast play crackhead.
Yeah. So on top of that, because I am info dom as well, one of the things that, especially when I communicate with a lot of people, my friends and whatnot, they all say that they classify me as weird because I bring up, also because of the masculine sensory, right? So when I
Yeah,
have when I communicate with people and whatnot, they always say I always bring up like random information and random facts about something I did a long time ago, or I can remember something that happened about 2 months ago. So one of the instances, a friend of me recently asked because I got the Apple Watch, right? One of my friends asked me, okay, what Apple Watch do you have? I want to get one for myself. Then I was like, oh, I got the Apple Watch Series 6 44mm cellular with GPS, right? And it's space gray as well. So I kind of stated all that information. And they were like,
yeah,
why did you have to be so weird like this? I just asked you what watch is it? But the
yeah,
thing is, with me, is that I don't feel like I'm doing you justice by providing you half of the information. Does
yeah.
that make sense? Yeah,
Yes.
so Blast Play, and also with that's half of it. What was the other part of your question? Can you repeat that, please? How do I feel like
No, we were. I mean, we're just talking about you being a blast play
Blast? Okay,
crackhead.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Was there another specific question that you kind of wanted to kind of get down, or is it
Uh, I
just
will. I didn't ask
oh
it yet, but I can.
okay,
I
okay,
can ask
go
it. That's
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Right. So we're both crackheads. We're both like I'm play blast. You're a blast play. So we both share that.
Uh-huh.
I can definitely see your super spiked up energy
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
talk. So you definitely have that. Um, I've interviewed your type twin before, and your type twin is nowhere near as
Yeah, yeah. I saw that one as well.
extroverted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely like if there's like a spectrum, you're definitely even more extroverted than he is. But so let's go over your parts, okay? Let's start with your introvert intuition,
Mhm.
feminine introvert intuition. So
Yeah.
feminine introvert intuition is usually correlated with organizing your known information, concepts. But because it's feminine, maybe you have a
Mhm.
tendency to forget what you've organized. So talk about that.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Also, I see the when people say because intuition. Okay, say for example, I have some sort of concept or I'm trying to organize in a certain way. It's not that actually it's not like I do forget what it is. I'll give an example shortly, but it's more like I try and find. Like I try multiple solutions, multiple possible combinations. You know, so if my NI, because usually how I see it kind of combining it with my parts is that it's kind of actually it works in tandem with the FE, right? So when I'm actually using the blast animal, right? So in that instance, there, it's like all I'm trying to do, like most of the time, what I'm trying to do or what I'm actually trying to achieve is to help people. You know, that's kind of one of the main things I try to do, and I try and assist people to get from point A to point B, right? So with the NI itself, it's not like, hey, I'm coming in here and then I have like an agenda or a specific thing that I'm trying to teach you specifically. You know, it's kind of like, okay, I can find multiple pathways to actually go about helping an individual get from point A to point B. Does that make sense to you?
So for you're talking about point A to point B, like what are you trying to help
Okay.
with?
Okay. So for
Exactly.
example, if I was to, okay, let's just use you for an example, right?
Sure.
So it's one of the ways I'll kind of go about doing just helping people is that if I've never like if I've noticed, I have to ask you questions initially, right?
Of
I
course.
kind of have to play with you and kind of understand, okay, what do you want to do in life? Like, who are you? Like, what are you trying to achieve? And usually one of the questions I ask people a lot is that, okay, if there's anything that you haven't done, like is there anything that you kind of want to achieve in life that you haven't been able to do before? What answer would you give me? Or yeah, what would you say?
For me specifically,
Yeah.
um, well, I'd like my YouTube channel to be bigger and be my main source of income, so I don't have to go to work. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not too sure. I don't know much about you. So what else do you do? I know that you do kind of personal fitness and
Yeah,
whatnot.
that my day job is fitness. So I am a personal trainer. I also teach spin. Yeah, and I'm also into travel, so I have a travel blog.
Mm.
I have a travel YouTube channel as well. So basically, the things that I'm into is travel, fitness, personality, and I'm also a gamer. So I play a lot of PlayStation 5. So
Oh, PlayStation. Oh, so you got the latest PlayStation 5.
yeah, that's right.
Is it the disc one or
The disc one, of course. So
the disc
I
one?
can resell the game after I finish playing.
So what games did you kind of have on that?
The games that I already beat, or the games I have
Or
right.
the games you play just in general?
Final Fantasy 7 remake. I like RPGs. I played a game called Stranded Deep, which is a survival game.
Mhm.
Played Worms. That's a 4-player game with buddies and
Uh,
stuff.
uh-huh.
Overcooked, all you can eat. So I can go on
Okay.
forever. So
Okay. Interesting. I forgot the question. Like, what were we talking about beforehand?
well, I was asking you how you're gonna get someone from point A to point B.
Right. So it really depends. Like it kind of takes some time to kind of build up that rapport. To okay, I need to like something similar to what I was just kind of doing now. It eventually that type of thing it'll get to a point where the person starts talking about what they really want in life. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes initially it starts off surface level, then it gets to a point. Okay, they're really talking about their DI or whatever it is or the thing that they really want to do, right? And eventually it's like it's through that play there that then I can introduce some my NI, if that makes sense. And then based on what I've kind of absorbed from this individual or from whoever I'm speaking to, I kind of figure out the best way to kind of help them that way. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah. No, I'm listening to you talk and I'm like, man, it's very similar to TE actually. It's
Yeah,
not TE, but it's
it's
FE.
exactly, yeah. A lot of people kind of see that whoa, like whoa, this is a bit of but yeah, it's essentially what I'm trying to do, if in a nutshell, is help people get closer to their goals. That's one of the things I kind of want to do is inspire and help, because inspiration is a long-lasting effect. To help somebody is a short-term effect. I'd rather inspire you, but also when you inspire someone, you're also helping them as well. So that way, for example, if I inspired you to do something, let's say one of the things you want to do, the YouTube channel, right? Is it this YouTube channel and the vlogging and the travel YouTube channel, right? Just you kind of just want to take that to the next level, basically, right?
Yeah.
Or just want to like what's the specific? What are your, if you kind of put it down in a couple bullet notes or some notes, what would be the things you're trying to achieve?
For the travel one, my goal is to visit every country in the world. So there's 193 UN recognized country. So I've been to 89. So I want to finish that.
Uh-huh.
So the travel one is more for personal. That's like I'm doing it for me. The personality
Yeah.
one I do for other people. So um, yeah, man, my goal is simple, man. It's like I want my YouTube channel to be my source of income so that I can use it to buy my place a house. I can buy myself a house one
Right.
day.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
anything like, you know, life
Uh-huh.
changing or magical. It's just seriously,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to work on my own terms. Like I like working, but I don't want to I want to set my own schedule,
Right.
basically. So if I want to take a day off to go like you know, take my girlfriend out to go watch a movie or hang out with my
Yeah.
buddies, then I can do that, right? So
Right. So with the personal fitness one, what's your day to day to that with that one?
it's just
Like,
like, you know, I work 5 days a week, and
also you work for a gym with a gym? Like,
I
how does
work
that?
for I work for a community center. So
Okay.
it's not quite like a commercial gym, but I just like watch over the gym, and you know,
Okay.
I also
How
train
how,
people. Yeah.
how many clients do you get on a, let's say, weekly basis?
I don't have many clients right now just because I'm bored of personal training. So I'm only
Oh,
training
okay.
people. So I'm like, I have maybe like 3 or 4 clients right now, but I'm happy with that. I don't really want more clients, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Because one of the things you said was you want to kind of work on your own schedule, right? So what other things are limiting you from working on your own schedule apart from that day in itself?
It's
Is that
just time and money. Like, you know,
okay? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So back to what we were saying before is that I even forgot it myself. Did you remember?
Is that your feminine
This
and I?
Yeah, I guess that's because sometimes like I,
Yeah.
I I kind of go too fast or kind of say quite can ask a lot in the sense that
Yeah.
the original thing is like what was it talking about again?
Yeah.
But I kind of have fragments. I think that's what it is. There's fragments to what, but I can't pinpoint in down to specific words of what we're talking about. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, yeah, you want to kind of proceed? I was gonna ask. Okay, so those are things. What I was gonna say next is that a lot of people when I do communicate with them, they know the steps needed to get to the next level, right? They know what's actually required to actually for them to get to point A to point B. Like
Right.
what you're saying, because that's what I'm saying. It depends on the individual, on who it is. Like your point A and point B will be different to my point A and point B, right? Does that make sense? Right? So in that instance, there is that I need to kind of get some information in order to help you to get to your point B or to your point C or to your point D or your point E, point F, whatever it is, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I'm just listening to you talk, and you know, I'm also play blast, so I'm kind of
Yeah, yeah,
comparing our
yeah,
play blast
yeah,
play.
yeah.
I do see the difference though. There is a subtle difference between ours. I
Uh-huh.
think for you, it's more like the emotional blockage that you're trying to break through to get to the point B. Well, for
Yeah,
me, it's actual like the like what you're supposed to do. You know, like
yeah.
yeah,
I see that. Yeah, I see that because I think that's if I'm I think that's what I can identify within individuals. For example, if there's a group of people like we're just speaking or whatnot, then I can tell this is what's kind of limited. This is the limitations that you kind of set up, or not that you set up, but that are kind of there that is not enabling you to get to your point B. Right.
yeah,
So I'm like, okay, what is that? Let's talk it out. Right. Let's play. Let's ping. Let's go back and forth and let's kind of identify that. Let's kind of remove that so you can actually progress. And that's kind of what I want to do, but on a mass scale. But it starts off before you go to the mass scale. Kind of it needs to be done on a one-to-one. Does that make sense?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it does. No, I mean, I like how you're consuming first before you give advice. So you make
yeah,
sure that
yeah,
you have all the information.
yeah,
Yeah. So you're
yeah.
not, you know, full of crap when you're giving tips because you've actually like consumed.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that's even that. I've been hearing that quite a lot. People tell me that a lot, and I think, yeah, I don't know what else I was gonna say. Continue.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah,
just saying like yeah, like just hearing you do your thing, it sounds like you're trying to break through both mental and emotional barrier. Like that is
uh-huh.
like the purpose of your blast play. It's different from mine, but it's see from a surface level layer, it looks the same, but it's not actually. If you
Yeah, yeah,
go a little
yeah.
bit, you go underneath, like take a peek underneath the surface, then yeah, then it's a bit, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it looks a bit different.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so the paint is the same, but
yeah, 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 yeah.
the
Yeah, I feel
mechanism
you.
underneath is different.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's you're talking about your NF blast then, because it's NF, right? You're talking about like
Yeah.
you're asking people what their purpose is, their meaning, their mission in life, and then your goal is to help them achieve it essentially by breaking
Exactly.
any limiting beliefs that they may have on themselves.
Yeah.
That's the what I got from you. Um, so talk about the extrovert feeling part of that. So we talk about your feminine NI, and for the feminine NI, it kind of sounds like it's more flexible. So it's not like you're set in stone to with just one solution. You can give different solutions based on what the person needs.
Yeah.
But you also feminine extrovert feeling. So that feminine extrovert feeling is with tribe values, right? So talk about you know, adhering to tribe values, and you tend to follow what the tribe collectively values.
Hmm. So, what do you mean by that? Can you be a bit more specific on
Yeah,
the
so
tribe
I have
values?
FI, right? So for me, I have my own set of values. Like I don't care if my family values tradition, like all this stuff. I'm not gonna follow any of that stuff. But like
Mhm.
I noticed that people with FE, if there's like a value, like let's say your family values a certain like let's say you value let me think, intelligence. Let's say your family values intelligence, right? And your let's say your parents your whole life has been hammering in your head, hey, you know, you need to read lots of books because you need to be smarter,
Uh-huh.
then
Yeah.
obviously you're like, yeah, I need to start reading a lot of books because my family values that,
Mhm.
so that's what tribe values are. But like I don't have FE, right? So let's say my family that values intelligence, I'll be like, I don't care. Okay, screw you. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
my own thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, talk
Mhm.
about that, like tribe values.
Um, tribe values in itself, the way you kind of explained it and the way I've kind of just been processing whilst you kind of explaining that, I don't kind of adhere specific. Maybe I do, but I'm unaware of it.
Yeah.
Like for example, like whenever when I was younger, I was in a sense, what's that word? Um, what's that word? I was kind of not to myself, like not that I didn't follow rules, and in a sense, basically that's what it is. I wasn't necessarily. I was a bit stubborn in the sense that kind of this is kind of what I want to do, so I'm gonna kind of go find a way to do it in a sense. So kind of following value, like okay, extroverted values in a sense like that. It's like I can see them, but it's not like I'm gonna follow them. If that makes sense. So if
Okay.
you to kind of give a few examples, like the one you gave, but intelligence, like okay, if your family values this intelligence, then I like okay, cool. It's not like I'm kind of forced to no, I don't force myself to adhere to them. I kind of see things. I understand, okay, this is what people value. I understand that okay, this is what like okay, my family likes this, that. It's not like I'm gonna go out of my way to kind of go about doing that, but rather I think I'm more individual focused. What do you kind of value and what can I help to get to kind of provide for you, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
but then you made it about the tribe, so I want you to talk about yourself. So I won't. So
Uh-huh.
um, okay. So I mean, tribe values could also be religion. It could be
Mm.
like our family respecting the elderly or whatever. Like
Yeah,
it could
yeah.
be something like that. So I'm just asking specifically for you, like what
Mhm.
have you know? You said that you might not be aware of it. I mean, it is feminine, right? So it's easy for
Yeah.
you to get swept by it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So like, do you have any stories where like your family or group, like I don't know, like classmates or friends, like you guys had a collective value that you shared with them, and then you kind of just followed?
Um, I don't have any stories that I can recall,
Okay.
but if you have more of a specific question that I can just narrow down an answer, I think that'll help because it's because I just don't think about I'm not thinking about it in that way, if that makes sense. So trying to
Okay.
answer the question itself is like what? It seems like that.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't have FE, so it's hard for me to
Uh
talk,
huh.
talk about it, because
Uh
that's why
huh.
I want to learn from you, because like you
Right.
you have FE, right? So okay,
Mhm.
what let me just ask you a plain question. What are you doing with the FT stuff?
Okay. So as I said, it's just literally from what I can see, what I'm doing, I'm just helping people. That's all I want to do. That's kind of what I do. So one of the things, let me kind of tell you, one of the things I do, I have multiple YouTube channels, right? One of them is a music YouTube channel where I teach music, uh, engineering, audio, how to mix and master. So the technical side and the engineering side of music production, right? So on that channel there, I've been uploading since last year, July 2020. I got about 11.9k subscribers now, and the main aim of that is just to kind of help people learn how to mix and master. And kind of what I've kind of noticed, especially with me, is that any type of skill or any kind of knowledge I have, I want to kind of take my knowledge for myself and exert it onto the tribe. So by the end of my life, basically when I die, it's like all the information that I've kind of it needs to be out. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do is just taking anything that I've kind of in a sense consumed or that I know of, and then helping you or helping the tribe in a sense. So all I'm trying to do of what I kind of see I'm doing is trying to get people to the next level. Does that make sense? So it's all about help or assistance. So in terms of values and tribes, I don't exactly know where that kind of fits in with
Yeah.
this because all I kind of see in my head is okay, cool. All I, my goal. I've even got something called standard operating principles on my mission statement. Right, is
Yeah.
to spread inspiration, joy, laughter, and creativity to mankind. That's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to just kind of push it out as far as I can and just kind of help. So Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm trying. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing your NF blast now. It's very similar to NT blast. There's like a lot of like it's very general as opposed to very specific.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I have a personal question about your FE. So
yeah.
I've been kind of looking at the different function, and it looks like the extrovert function kind of collects the introvert function. So I'll give you an example. Like
Mm-hmm.
David Chan's class, they talk about like how the TE can see how the TI's idea will not work in reality, and they can
Yeah,
they'll be like, I don't want to say it because you're gonna get offended, but yeah, it's not gonna work. Your TI is not gonna work.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So and it could go with any function. Like NE can, for example, can see like the best NI, right? So like I can look at all the different NI in the spectrum and be like, okay, this NI is gonna work. This one's good. This one's good. This person's an idiot. Like it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
so you have FE. So are you also collecting people's FIs and kind of seeing which is like the best like value system or I guess emotional process that people are using that is the best? Are you also doing something like that? Are you able to see the spectrum of FIs?
I guess if you kind of put it in that way, now that I'm thinking about it and kind of thinking through my archives of processes, right? So now that you kind of put it that way, I do see how I'm able to pick up on those type of things. Like, okay, if I like, because one of the other things I do as well is I do something called video journaling, right? So it's something where I take my phone, do you know like how like you write in a diary or a journal, like you write it every day. I take my phone and I record myself every single day. So anytime I can pick up my phone and just talk, right? So I kind of just processing and just kind of talking. I've been doing it since last year, May 2020. So I've been doing that every single day, non-stop. So I've got literally an archive on my computer of just video footage so I can go back to any time in the past and see, okay, this is what I did, this is what, you know. So what am I getting at? Okay, your question was, do I see other people's FIs? Okay, so to answer that question in the sense that because I kind of communicate with myself on a regular basis, it's like I'm always kind of speaking about uh, things that are occurring, and also how what people kind of, in a sense, I guess this is what I'm also doing when I do talk to myself like this. Is like I'm seeing the patterns of what people value and what not. So I kind of basically, to answer, long story short, I think so. I think so.
Okay.
Does that there was another part to your question, wasn't there? Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just mentioning that how the extrovert function can see the introvert function, and they're kind of like comparing which is the best. Like for
Yeah.
example, with SE, they can see the different SIs, right? And they can be like, okay, those physical systems are the best compared to this physical system, or this building looks nicer than this building, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, so I was asking you about using your FE, and are you looking at like people's FI and kind of comparing, saying who has the best FI, essentially?
Okay, I don't think right off the bat I'm doing that, but I think I can. If you was to ask me, okay, based on the past 100 people that you've kind of recently spoken to, who has the best FI, and then I think in that way, then I can, okay, yeah, this guy, no, this guy had the first FI. Oh, this guy was second place because of these things,
Yeah,
because he said he likes this and that and that. I can see that, and I can see it, but it's not like it's staring me in the face that, hey, this is, you need to rank them in this order,
right.
etc. XYZ. But it's something that if you tell me, oh, this person you spoke to recently, how they like based on whatever metrics, then I can kind of sort them out that way.
Okay, so are you sorting out their character behavior? Is that what you're doing, or what?
So what am I doing exactly? Is, yeah, based on that. So I sort out, not based on, it's based on a number of things. For example, um, how what do they like? That's one of the main things. Another thing is, what do they need help with? Because that's the main thing that I kind of look to itself.
Right.
Where like other things like about themselves in themselves. So it's mainly, I don't necessarily think it's about what was the thing you were talking about? What did you say again?
I'm just asking you if you collect people's FIs and if you can see, who has the
There was a
best FI.
specific word that you said before that I kind of forgot. Do you collect the
Behaviors.
yeah, behavior? Okay, so yeah, I kind of, yeah, I guess it is that as well, but yeah,
Well,
um
FE is also about what is the appropriate behavior for the situation. So you're kind of like a
okay,
chameleon, right? So, um, can you talk about like presenting yourself the right way, give in different situations? Because it's
mhm,
FE, right? So you're not gonna behave the same way with your buddies, as opposed to like at a workplace or with your
Mm.
family, right? There's something like a different.
That's
Yeah. So
it's
can you talk about that?
it's interesting because the type of person I am, like I'll kind of stay the same, not throughout, but like in multiple scenarios. Because if I kind of like, for example, if I change up when I'm at work or if I change up when I'm at home, then this is like it kind of shows that I'm a bit fake, and I don't like that stuff, right?
Yeah. Sure.
So it in a sense is like I what was the word you used the specific word? Can you repeat that word?
Well, like you're a chameleon,
No, there was something else. Something about
like showing the appropriate behavior.
yeah, appropriate behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, that word. Okay, so I know what's kind of appropriate for different scenarios and whatnot,
Yeah.
but it's not like I'm gonna change myself, like, I'm gonna change my behavior like 30% each way, or like in their like the way that they kind of want me to kind of behave in a sense. I'm not gonna kind of sacrifice myself because they want um a specificness or a specific way of me. I don't kind of adhere to. That's the thing. I don't fully adhere to what people kind of want of me. I mean, of course, it depends on what is like social standards and whatnot, like what's
Right.
actually appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, stuff like that. Like, oh, you need to kind of not dress up inappropriately, or you need not to do, you need not to, like, for example, in a residential area, don't scream, don't whatever those type of things, right? Of
I
course,
see. Okay.
there's things that come back to us, but in a sense where it's like people, yeah, I don't fully adhere. Not that I don't fully adhere. I'm aware of it, but I'm more often than not, I'm myself. That makes sense.
Would you say that's because you're a double decider? You have a masculine TI and feminine FE, right? So you can always see the tribe in yourself, and being authentic is the best way to go. But if the
Yeah.
tribe wants you to behave a certain way that's more appropriate for the situation, you're more than welcome to, just give them what they want for that split moment. Not that you're changing who you are, but
Mhm.
like you said, like you're in a place and they told you not to scream or shout. It's like, of course, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Or like you're in a place, yeah, you're in a place and it's like, okay,
Uh-huh.
don't cuss here, okay, and you're like, okay, sure. So is that something that you're doing? Like you're still using your TI to kind of center yourself, like be
Yeah.
still be you, but if you need to make a little tweaks in, like, the mannerism, then you're cool with it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I guess that is the point as well. Yeah. I guess, yeah. Yeah. Answer that question is yes. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go with your second animal. This is going to be your strongest animal. This is your play.
Mhm.
SF play,
Uh-huh.
SEFE. It's double activated. So this is going to be even stronger than your blast because it's double activated. Let's talk
Mhm.
about how you personally experienced that double activated SF play.
Mhm. So what's the question? Do you have a question, or is just
Yeah,
this?
how do you experience it
Okay, how do I
personally?
experience it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like I'd noticed myself because initially, when I was getting ready to be typed and whatnot, I think a lot of people kind of see that side of me first because, like as you mentioned before, the NF blast. It's not like it's as an instant, like I turn up, then boom. I guess you can kind of see that, but what I'm trying to say is that when people communicate with me initially, is that okay? They kind of see, oh, this guy is going back and forth with me, kind of on that doing the play, right? So the masculine sensory in itself is there. I think people initially, some people, like people kind of type me lead sensory because they feel like that is what's being shown, kind of. It's what's, because it's masculine as well, because it's what's kind of being shown to the tribe as if it's um high up. So what was the second part to your question? Do you have more for a specific question? So how do I experience it? What do you mean by experience? How do I go about day to day? How do I?
Well, okay, so let's go with the actual, like, letters. So it's S and
Yeah.
F, right? So
Mhm.
SF means cool. So
Mhm.
when I interviewed some ESTPs, for example, one of them said to me that they like to ping off the tribe to see what's cool. So, like, let's say this
Uh-huh.
shoes is what's popular right now. So
Uh-huh.
everyone's gonna get, so that ESTP is gonna get that shoes now because that's like what's in at
Uh-huh.
the moment, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so do you do something like that? Do you kind of ping off like, hey, what's cool right now? What's like what's trendy?
Hmm. I do and I don't, but I think the main kind of thing I kind of do is not to see what's cool and what's trendy. I kind of do that, but with, I guess it is with more tech related stuff,
Okay,
because I'm more interested in technology and whatnot.
sure.
So, for example, when I'm having a conversation, like I kind of want to know. Okay, for example, I'm gonna ask you now. What camera are you using? Are you using like a laptop, a computer, a desktop?
Yeah,
How do you?
I'm just using my laptop camera.
Okay. What laptop is it?
It's the MacBook M1.
Oh, so you got the new one. Yeah, I watched the
The
recent
Pro,
interview. I think
the Pro one, not the new one
not
that
the.
came out, not the 14-inch one.
Oh, so you're
13.
oh,
I got.
oh, okay, okay. So you're not planning to get the new one,
Well, I don't like the.
the notch thing.
Yeah, I hate that notch. Can't stand
Okay,
that thing. I
okay,
wanted to buy it, but I saw the notch. I'm like, screw that.
okay. What color is your laptop?
I got the silver one.
Okay, interesting. Anyway, what was we at? We was talking about SF Play. So in terms of stuff like that, I kind of do like with tech related stuff or things that I kind of see. What am I saying? Yeah, I do in terms of the things I'm kind of interested in, or that I kind of not even only I'm interested in, but the kind of things that I know of, or that I can say, okay, is this? Do you like this? Is this cool? Why is it not cool? You kind of gave a reason because of the notch. You don't like that. Okay,
Yeah.
now that if I was to communicate with another person, okay, what if I was to ask them what laptop do you have, and they're like, oh, I have this Lenovo HP or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, what's the resolution of the webcam? Do you know? Do you know the answer to your one?
720p, I think.
720p.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because MacBook. Okay, cool. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'll just
not
ask
the
them.
new one.
Yeah. I'll just ask them questions like that, and kind of just see, okay, what do you kind of what's currently liked, and that way it saves me a lot of time to do the actual consume online. For example, you kind of mentioned the new MacBook. I haven't actually gone out and done the thing because done the actual research on the thing itself, but I
Yeah.
kind of play first before I actually go. Because once I've played with you, like I kind of got some information on whatever you like or whatever people kind of like currently, then it makes my consume easier and it makes it fun because now I can attach it because hey, I'm gonna do this consume because Kendrick likes it
Yeah.
or because these people said, oh, this is interesting, go check this out. So now it makes my experience of learning the thing much more pleasant
I see.
because a friend of mine kind of likes it or whatever it is, or and then based on that, the more kind of people I kind of communicate with and whatnot, not only communicate with, but I kind of see, okay, people like this, so I should probably learn more about this, so that way if I ever engage in a conversation, I can kind of get where people are coming from based on. Does that make sense?
So you're using your play to bond with people is what I'm.
In a sense, and to also learn, because one of the ways I kind of learn, I learn more. Not that I learn more from people and individuals, but that's kind of the one of the main ways that I kind of go about learning itself.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of goes about. I think a lot of people learn this way as well, but it's one of the ways that I can quickly learn as well. Like it's a quick method of learning.
Yeah, a lot of consume class people, they don't consume, so they just use play to learn because otherwise,
Yeah,
nothing's coming in, right?
yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Cool, man. Let's talk about the extrovert sensing. It's masculine for you. It's double activated, which is gonna be a blessing for your specific type because a lot of INFJs, they get tripped over by that masculine
Yeah.
by the sensing, right?
Yeah.
So your biggest fear is still going to be chaos. So talk about the fear of chaos.
So okay, so for example, because I also do I have like an MBTI channel or like a OP type hybrid type where I do like comedy skits and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So even like on my YouTube channel as well, on the music YouTube channel, when I create videos, I think that's where I kind of see a lot of I know when chaos is coming in that instance. For example, when I'm recording the video, because the type of camera I have is a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, right? And then I connect it into my Elgato HD60S capture card. That's routed into my 32-inch BenQ 4K monitor, right? So that I actually have like a monitor where I view when the live feed from my camera itself. So chaos comes from the things that I can't predict, the outside. Like, because I'm in my room right now. When I record in myself. Chaos comes from outside of the door. Chaos comes from when things stop working. For example, if one of the not that the battery kind of dies out, but if an issue arises where, yeah, these little things. I guess that's where I kind of see a lot of the chaos comes in, and also the. What was your question again? Sorry, I forgot.
Well, I was listening to you, so let me have to go rewind now.
Yeah. Or you can
I was
ask me.
I was asking you about the fear of chaos.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have more? Do you have? What about it?
Well,
Is there a specific question?
do you have any stories of when a chaos tidal wave hit you in the face and like everything like fell apart? Because like usually the story with the INFJ is you're building your NI so high up, but you didn't respect the sensory, and then you got to a certain point, suddenly this like sensory thing comes up and trips you over, and now you're screwed. Like for example, let's say you have a grand plan today to go, produce your music. You're gonna record your music. You're gonna film it on video. But hey, guess what? You didn't do the sensory. You didn't wash your clothes today, and then because you didn't wash your clothes, you don't have the right outfit to go film, and now it ruined your whole day. Essentially, So has anything like that happened to you before? Like something similar?
Not really.
Not
really.
that specific example, but like we're like.
I won't say it's. Of course, I don't think none of the kind of freakouts I've never had. Not that I never had, but I can't recall a situation where it's kind of been that much. I think if I do, it's kind of more small things because I'm very on top of the equipment and the gear I use.
Okay.
So if it was to be a freak out in a sense like that, it would be external. It would be because my little brother came into my room, tripped up one of the wires, and it disconnected. So everything that in my, I guess it's also like almost like an IJ box type of thing. Everything in here is sorted, SC wise. Like I'll show you. But anyway, everything is kind of like in check.
Okay.
So
and how would you react if someone trips over your wires and whatnot? And
of course I can see it coming. Like I wouldn't just, because the door's locked, right? So if I see, what do you mean by that? Like if somebody just trips over it, or if somebody just like what? Like purposely just yanked it out of the camera or what?
Yeah, no. I mean, how would you react? Would you rage? Would you like? I'm just curious. What's like
it depends. It depends on how they went about doing that. Like if I know they're just trying to, like, it depends. It really depends. Like you have to kind of give me.
Okay, I'll use my girlfriend as an example. So she's an INTJ, so she's gonna have the same problem as you with the SE, right? Supposedly, but she's also like you. She's also double activated SE, so also glass lizard. So for her, she's always losing her keys, and then she's about to leave to go like do her thing, and then the keys are missing. Now she's screwed. Like, and then she's like freaking out, ripping out the apartment in half, looking for her damn keys because now it ruined all her plan, right? Because then she's go find this damn sensory thing. So I'm just asking you if you have any similar, like not with keys. I know it's hard to talk with SE people sometimes because I'm like it's not a specific object.
Yeah,
like,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Like has anything like that happened where you had a plan and then some like small thing like that's sensory related? I don't know, it could be laundry keys. You forgot to get your car in for an oil change, forgot to pump gas, whatever. You forgot to do some sensory stuff, and now like your day is ruined, essentially. Like, has that ever happened to you?
I get what you're saying. Not in a sense, I don't think it's sensory related in the sense that my whole day is ruined because of this specific thing. Because in a sense, it's like that should have been kind of taken care of. Like I kind of know that if this isn't fixed, that sensory thing isn't fixed or isn't taken care of, then it won't even go ahead in the first place, or whatever I had planned. Does that make sense? So to answer your question, long story short, I can't. Maybe I have. Maybe I can't recall the time that has occurred, as of late or as of past.
Is it because you have double masculine ST consume, so you're always aware of like the physical, like
I get that could be the thing. I'm not too sure specifically why that. I don't know why exactly, but what was this the second part of your question coming, right? Is there a second part of the question?
Well, I was going to ask you about your consume next, but since you were in this topic, like we're talking about SE, right? So usually if you're an IJ, the SE, if you're like an INFJ or INTJ, it's the SE that will trip you up, from your plan. Like, Dave always rages about his printer, right? Like printer's not working, and it's sometimes I watch like, so, go ahead.
What I was gonna say is that the thing, because I have like the thing is about those type of things, like for example, like when I hear stories about people raging about the computer, like it crashes, I'm like, why has it done that? It's because like, I kind of understand. Okay, for example, I got like 24 terabytes worth of hard drive of hard drive storage, right? I've got a backup for those hard drives as well, so I kind of have a plan for the plan itself. Or like for example, do you know that saying like, just to be safe, I keep my safe in a safe. Like I have extra precautions to avoid those type of things occurring.
I see. Okay, so you plan ahead for the chaos, and
I guess that's what I think I've done. Because trying to answer the questions that you've kind of proposed, and I can't recall a time where such things have occurred. Maybe yeah.
Okay, so it sounds to me is because of your function stack. Is because you have double masculine as consume. it's
Uh-huh.
third, but it's present, and you're a
Mm-hmm.
glass lizard. And
Uh-huh.
because you have SE, you can also see the chaos, the physical chaos that could happen to you, so you can prepare for it ahead of time, so it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's also interesting because when you mention chaos itself, like I like I like chaos in midst or like in the midst of people. You know, like we're all experiencing the chaos itself. When it's chaos like specifically to myself, that's when of course I don't like it. But for example, one of the times like I had to because I go church every Sunday, right? And then after I help with the technical, just setting up and setting up and kind of what's that word? What's the opposite of setting up?
disassemble.
Basically, yeah. So we have like actual like we have a digital mixer, we have musical instruments that we kind of set up every morning itself, every Sunday morning, and then we kind of disassemble again later on at the end of the day itself, because we kind of transport our goods via transport because we don't actually own the building itself. So in that instance, there it's like it's a very chaotic type of job. I actually think I thrive in situations like that when other people, I see other people are not suffering, but when other people are struggling, it's like you're struggling with this. This is so simple. Let's just do this because like when people say, oh, the microphone's not working because it may be like like a dynamic microphone where it just needs the XLR is it needs to be connected. So a lot of people see like those type of issues that they experience those type of issues when they haven't actually checked the root cause of it. I'm like just check why it's happening. Why is it because and there's always an answer to the solution if that makes sense. And it's just I'm kind of aware of the in a sense you could say the blueprints so that that way if somebody comes to me with an issue like that I know okay have you checked this have you checked that I kind of go throughout a list and just kind of knock them all off have you done this have you done that have you done that and then eventually we'll figure it out and then it'll be sorted. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you're high play, so I guess that's why you would enjoy the people chaos. Like
yeah, yeah,
it's not a
yeah.
big problem. Let's talk about your ST consume, double masculine ST consume. So
Mm,
it's bang blocking.
mm,
Also like facts. They said that Eminem would read the
mm.
dictionary to get additional words to use for this rap music.
Mm,
So a lot. I noticed that a lot of INFJs like reading about stats, numbers, all the things.
mm.
If you're into sports, you like to look at like the player stats, the game stats. Do you enjoy doing all the stuff?
Similar in a similar way, I guess as I was talking before, like whatever I'm consuming itself, it's like I need to consume something with numbers because numbers don't lie if you actually think about it. Like if you say, for example, the watch thing is in itself is like, okay, this is a 44 millimeter watch and there's other type of watches, right? Or 38 millimeter, whatnot. I consume like it's not like I'm actively consuming those type of things in a way. It's like I kind of just like let's say for example I'm surfing the web on the internet and I kind of see some things or whatever it is. Like those things kind of it's like I'm it's like I'm unaware that I've kind of consumed all these stats and figures, and then when I'm communicating with other people, that's what kind of comes out. Does that make sense? For
Yeah,
example,
I get.
if I'm watching the news, like say like if I'm watching the news or whatnot, and then after they kind of say, oh, 17% of they give like a statistic or some sort of figures, right? Of like for recently one of the ones I heard, I don't know who exactly it is. I remember more of the numbers and the stats more than the specific story itself. Like there was a story where somebody purchased 100,000 Teslas recently. I remember the stories itself. I mean, not sorry. I remember the more the numbers itself than the actual story itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense
Yeah.
actually.
So even when I read books, like when I consume books and I consume information and whatnot, I enjoy the story, like the whole kind of the story of the information of the book. But the things that I kind of remember the most is kind of what is factual, what is more statistical, and all these type of things. And yeah, that's that side of things. And then when it comes to when another way I kind of see the ST consume as well is like when I'm doing the play in a sense, I kind of that's kind of what sometimes that's kind of what I also kind of want to consume the actual like when I ask people like for example if I have to ask you a question, I ask you some very specific questions like what size like for example I didn't ask you what size your computer is, did I? But I asked you okay, what color is it? What what year is it? What year is your computer by the way? I just want to know that.
Late 2020.
Oh, okay, it's the recent one. Yeah, so that's the type of thing I do. I kind of ask more specific questions that have sensory details. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it does. So I want to ask you next about the next SD consume. So one of the definitions we consume is also self-awareness. So Dave and Shan, when in their class, they talk about how self-awareness is from sleep and consume. So sleep is internal self-awareness and
Yeah.
consume is external self-awareness. So it's like consume basically means like, are you able to let's say pretend you become a ghost and you can see yourself like moving. So you can see yourself from an external perspective. So you have consumed third. That means you are able to see yourself from a third person point of view. Talk about that, like how you're like you know when you know you're doing something stupid or doing something weird, like you're aware, like you can kind of like come off your body and see it, right?
So also, so do you want to answer that point of view first, or just kind of the
Yeah, talk
the
about your
whole?
experience with that, like your experience with like
Oh,
you know, like seeing yourself from an external perspective.
okay. So one of the things I kind of do is I'm kind of always like I'm aware if I'm not on the path of growth or on the path of trying to improve myself. So one of the things I always like, and this is one of the things I kind of do. Like whenever I implement systems to on myself or to myself that kind of help me get to where I'm trying to go to, like my goal wise and whatnot. So one of the things I do is I have this system where it's like I have 3 days combined in one. What do I mean by that? So day one is from whenever I wake up to 12 p.m. Day two, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Day three, 6 p.m. to midnight. It's something Ed Milet kind of speaks about this quite a lot. But essentially, what I do is that day one I kind of I focus on myself. So that's the day it's all in one day, right? So day one is the day I kind of focus on myself, and that's the day I kind of say, okay, I'm self-reflecting. What in the past couple days back, I look at my previous times, like, okay, what have I been in a sense struggling on? What can I improve on? What are the things that I need to kind of get done? And I kind of just kind of pre-plan the things for day two and day three. Day two is kind of the execution day where I actually go about executing on the things that I've kind of done I kind of discussed in day one. And then day three is for people. Like I just give it to people. That makes sense. So to answer, so can you repeat your question again? So
Well,
okay,
I'm not sure if that I don't know if that answered my question, but I'm
yeah,
talking about like
I was yeah.
I'm
How
talking
do
about
I
stuff
see
of,
my
yeah, can you see yourself, like let's say you're interacting with someone,
uh
right? um
huh
can you see yourself while you are interacting with that person? Can you see yourself while you are talking to someone else?
can I see myself in the sense that am I aware of the things I'm saying? Am I the way that
Yeah, are
aware
you
of the
aware of how you're
I'm being
coming
presented?
across?
Yeah,
Yeah, how you
yeah,
present.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and then can you catch yourself if you're doing something that's like weird or
Yeah,
dumb,
and
you
then
know?
some. Yeah, I can. I'm able to, and then sometimes I shift it slightly depending on what exactly that is.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, I can. I'm aware. I'm aware.
Okay, so that leads me to your fourth animal. This is going to be
Uh
the sleep last. It's
uh
NT sleep last. It's
uh
internal self-awareness. It's also processing your known self, essentially. So
mhm.
talk about that. Like this is going to be the hardest part for you, right? So do you have any struggles with that personally, with that, like that sleep last?
Initially, like yes, but I think I've found ways to kind of go about tackling that. So
Okay.
do you know when I was talking about the video journal thing where I record myself every day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of helped me at least process out loud, and actually get, because I think one thing's in a way for me to kind of see, okay, what am I really processing and whatnot? I need to kind of get it out physically. Like I need to either write down my notes, or actually speak about it and say it, you know.
Yes.
So as one thing I've noticed that I'm starting to actually kind of process the things that I'm okay. Is this something I really want to do, or is this just actually processing things as well? Because one thing I kind of do quite a lot is I kind of produce a lot externally, and then I don't actually take time for myself. So doing ever since I started this, I've actually dedicated a lot more time to myself in terms of sleep processing. What was the other part of your question?
Have you had any problems with it in the past where when you didn't do that? Like what kind of
Um,
problems did you experience by not sleep processing?
what would can you be a bit more specific? So when you say problems,
Yeah, I
What do you
mean, we
mean?
have different animals, so I can use myself as an example, but it's gonna be a little bit different because your sleep is this different than mine. Like my sleep is SF, yours is NT, right?
Yeah.
So with me it's SF. So like, what do I value? What's important to me? What makes me happy? What makes me unhappy? So I use my SI to go back into the past and kind of like see how I felt in every situation that I've kind of reviewed in the past, right? And then based on the emotions that I felt in each of those given situations, I can make a decision in the present to either have less of what was making me feel bad and have more of what was making me feel good, right? So that's my SF sleep. It's also setting boundaries with people too, right? So sleep is also boundary setting. So it's also me creating systems that, like, instead of feeling bad if I spend time with this person who is toxic, then I just either cut off this person or limit my interaction with this person. So I have like a specific number now for every single person in my life. So for example, I like, let's say I have I have a relative. This relative's toxic, but they're still family, right? So I see them, okay, once a year, Christmas, whatever. That's good. That's good enough, right?
Yeah.
And then this other friend, yeah, I like hanging with him. He's fun, but he's also kind of like, too much hanging with him is also trouble. So I think a happy medium is once a month. So that's me, right? That's me creating systems for myself based on my emotions, because it's FI, right?
Yeah.
Now yours is a little bit different. Yours is NITI, so it's figuring things out and seeing what works for you, figuring out what works for you essentially. So it's like processing what happened in your life and saying, okay, I did this, nope, didn't work, so how can I figure out what will work for me? So I don't know if like you do that now, kind of like like it's also setting boundaries too, right? So if you want to involve the tribe, you can be like, well, I hanged out with this person, and you know what, hanging with this person, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work for me, like, so like, have you ever done anything like that before, where you kind of like went on a
On a
like, like you repeat you repeat experiences and sort it out to see which worked for you, which one did not work for you, or like figuring out what works for you essentially,
um what works for me? I guess what do you mean by what works for me? What is what do you mean
well,
by
I
that?
mean, TI is it's not like what, I have FI, so it's like what feels good, right? So it's a little bit different. um okay, I can use my sister as an example. So we've been trying to schedule a day to go to the so my last year my grandfather passed away, and he left his house as an inheritance to all his uh kids and grandkids essentially.
Uh-huh.
But everyone decided to sign off on the inheritance and give it to a specific relative who has no money, just to give them a home, right? Now, because that happened in the Philippines where I was born. I grew up in Canada, but I was born in the Philippines. Me, my sister, and my mom, my two sisters, have to go to the embassy, the Philippine embassy, to go sign some paperwork to go transfer the property to the relative that we have that has no money and they need a place to live. So, but because the day that I had originally booked to go to the embassy was on a day that my sister is working, she did not want to take time off that day to go do this embassy thing because it doesn't work for her. She doesn't care if everyone in the tribe, if that day is the one that works for everyone, because for her, she has TI, she doesn't have T, right? So because she has TI, that day doesn't work for her and she doesn't care. And so pick another day that works for her. And if you don't move, then she's not gonna sign the paperwork essentially. So that's what I mean by TI, because like for her, she figured out, it's like, nope, I'm not gonna move on this. This is like, sleep, right? I'm gonna be stubborn with this, and you move for me, for this scheduling specifically, because it doesn't work for her. That day doesn't work for her. So I don't know if that relates to you or not.
Um, I can see how in the sense that there's a struggle at times to set boundaries in the sense that I'm helping a lot,
Yeah.
but never actually identifying how much is too much
Yes.
to actually
Exactly.
work on myself. I can see how that struggle is there at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that then. So when are you hitting the brakes and helping other people to do for yourself? So
So yeah,
that's
so
that time.
recent yeah, so recently on my YouTube channel itself, I've been uploading every single day since like April, May, where
Yeah,
just actual just tutorial, because I do like mainly just tutorial videos and those type of helpful on the YouTube side of things, and
yeah,
just working on my e-commerce site because I have a e-commerce site where I have paying subscribers who pay for a service that I provide
nice.
so that they can actually learn how to mix and master. Okay, so
Yeah,
on that side of things, there it's like every single day is like that's because I work on this kind of full time basically. This is kind of my full time job, digital content creation, right?
yeah,
Because I also have other businesses a lot on side as well. So it's like I'm always constantly. It's always like I'm always on. Everything I kind of do has to revolve in a sense around work in a sense, and it's like sometimes the struggle of actually saying, okay, that's enough. I've already worked 10 hours on producing a video. I've already worked 10 hours producing a thumbnail, creating a script for the next video. Everything's always work, trying to help people get to do their thing, right? So it's always okay. When am I going to take the break to kind of do what to actually think? Okay, is this what I want? Is this what I want to do? X, Y, Z, right? So ever
yeah,
since I started actually recording on my phone, as I was saying before, is that it's kind of helped me in the sense, okay, process. This is what I kind of just basically give like an ST report, like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. I've done this, I've done that, and then it kind of makes me feel like, okay, cool. Have I done anything for myself in a sense? Am I helping myself? And X, Y, Z. So
yeah.
it's like everything. A lot of the things like, kind of revolve around work and just kind of production and output,
Right,
and then it's like not actually taking time to have to think, is this really what I want to be doing, especially for the rest of my like long term play, and actually thinking, okay, is this really what? Yeah, I guess that's kind of the struggle I've been having.
right. Okay, so talk about that. You have a your struggle with long term planning for yourself. Okay, you can plan for other
Yeah,
people. You can plan for other
yeah,
people, but not for
yeah,
yourself. So talk
yeah.
about the
That
problem with yourself then.
yeah, I think that's kind. I think yeah, that's literally it. It's like when it comes to other people, I'm like, okay, cool. I got the blueprint. I can make a blueprint for you. I can make. I'll go all out making like. I'll even design a Word document, a spreadsheet on how you can kind of improve your life X Y Z. But when it comes to myself, like not. It's not like 10 out of 10 level. It's more like 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. It's like almost I don't go all out for myself in that aspect, but rather if it's for anybody else, then hey, I'm gonna stay up 10 hours to do this thing, But when if it's associated with myself, like what's the it's almost like what's the point? It's almost like it almost feels like what's the point? Like what am I gonna do with it? But because like, with other people, I know that hey, they can use it, they can get better, and it's just kind of seeing that okay, I'm helping this other person. Let me also help myself. So
Right.
that's kind of the way I kind of need to kind of find balance there. Yeah,
So in a way, you're kind of disrespecting yourself then by
in a sense. But one thing that I've noticed this is because this is where the kind of boundaries is that I find joy in helping others. So
right, of
it
course.
makes me feel like this is what I actually want to be doing.
Right.
So yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not all bad. Obviously, when you help other people, you still feel good, right? But
Yeah,
there are times when you do have to do something for yourself,
hmm
and it's just for you.
yeah,
So I guess that's the area that you need to explore. Then, what is like
uh-huh.
that long-term vision for yourself?
hmm
Instead of other individuals, and no one else can figure it out except for you because it's NT, right?
hmm
So you have to
hmm
figure out your long-term plan for yourself.
hmm
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed as of doing because this thing that I do the video stuff, the video journal thing I was talking about, is like every single day because I'm constantly speaking to myself and constantly saying, okay, this is what's happening X Y Z. It's enabled me to actually kind of get a grasp on kind of what I do want to do because sometimes I've noticed, well, like when I was watching a video of myself last week, it's like the thing I kind of wanted to do long term or whatever it was different to what I want to kind of do now or
Yeah.
today. So it's
Yeah.
always kind of not changing. It's basically changing, and it's kind of always
So
um
okay. So what did you
yeah
want to do long term?
long term. So one of the main things I kind of want to do because one of the kind of things I've started a record label, so I kind of do music artist management. So I have set of artists that I kind of do on the YouTube side of things, the music side of things. I also offer because I do videography, so I do freelancing videography and whatnot. I teach people how to video edit, graphic design. That's my whole e-commerce YouTube side. So kind of the whole plan for that side is just kind of maintain it, kind of 10x it in a sense, just scale it in a sense to where it's like I'm getting more people on board, right? That's that side of there. The second part of it, because I've also started like a clothing fitness with a bunch of friends. We started this last year, October, September, and that's another thing that we're kind of doing as well. And we started out well, but we're kind of gonna again to scale that thing. So I've kind of started a lot of things, and I guess what I want to kind of do is kind of scale all of those, and then actually get it to a point where I can start another 10 batch of things that I'm doing. So at the end of the day, it's like what I want to do is um do what I want to like. What I want to do is kind of the things that I'm kind of interested in, and again, as I said initially, is that any knowledge I have of things, I kind of want to use those, and then actually just spread it and just kind of teach people the things I know. For one of them, video editing. Like I've got a YouTube channel where actually, even on the YouTube channel itself, I teach people how to video edit X Y Z, and I teach people these type of things. So, hopefully that answers your question. What was the specific question again?
um, no, I was asking you if I was asking you what your long-term vision is
Yeah.
for yourself, like because you said that it was different from what you're doing in the present moment, right?
Yeah. Like for example, not like long term vision. It's just I think what I was saying then is that some certain things that I said, okay, I want to do this. It kind of changes. I noticed like I guess it's not. I guess I don't know if you would classify it as long term or like mid term or whoever it is, but it's not like it's because long term, I want to be able to help, inspire, teach people, right? That's the kind of
Okay.
what I want to do long term. So what I've noticed that it doesn't necessarily matter exactly what I'm in it because it could be healthcare. As if I'm helping people, then so be it. If it's music, so be it. But eventually, I kind of want to kind of do other things, not just specific. So that's why, like, I've kind of started in a sense multiple businesses in a sense, and kind of done it in. I'm kind of attempting to also replicate what I've been doing in this area, like the music side of things and whatnot, and then also do it on the other side of things as well, like the actual clothing company and these other things that I'm doing as well.
So from what I'm hearing from you, you have multiple companies, and if you hit a home run in one of them, and that's the area that you can help the most people with, inspire them and whatnot, then you're more than happy to just pivot to that one. And or
Not completely. Like I kind of wanna like because even on my YouTube channel, like the one I've only got like about 11.9K subscribers as of now, but
okay,
I've created so many videos to the point where I need not to create anymore. Like it like I've already not exhausted myself, but I've created like if you wanted to learn mixing and mastering because that's the technical term, you can go on my channel and learn literally about it. You know, so I've created all the content I kind of create. Now it's just kind of finding different avenues, and I don't want it just to be music related itself. I want to kind of progress into doing other things, and that's kind of what I'm doing now anyway. So I've kind of almost not that I'm almost finishing that chapter, but I'm almost finishing that chapter there of the music side and kind of going into the next one now. If that makes sense.
okay. And what's the next chapter?
Oh, so the next one is going to be more. I'm going to focus on this because basically what I'm doing is the fitness related. Because the company, the clothing company itself, it's is like clothing, and also like the fitness related side of things as well. So I got a partnered up with some other fitness guys, who are who got degrees in like sports science, and one of them physiology, physical therapy or something like that. And then what we're doing is essentially quite trying to create a like in a sense where it's like and it's basically like it's almost like personal training but like a whole community type vibe to it, and then that's kind of the nature to it there.
Gotcha. And then what's the
Yeah.
one after? What's the one after that?
So I also got like a basically like a record label. Now I'm already currently managing artists, and I also shoot their music videos. In my home, I got like a home studio set up where people come and record their tracks. I charge them on an hourly basis and whatnot. So I've been doing that for a long time. So the whole music side of things is kind of not concluding, but that's where I'm also gonna because I've already kind of built a team around that aspect as well. So both areas kind of have a team in that sense. So I guess the next stage is kind of just excelling in the business realm because I finished university a couple of months back, studied international business economics. So my whole aim is just kind of start more because I kind of like I I kind of like that whole process of starting nothing from something and then kind of going on to the next thing.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
so you have three different categories here.
Mhm.
What is the next thing?
The next thing is the next thing is just kind of starting a new thing, and then yeah. So are you asking for a specific next thing as in what?
Well, I feel like you have three things, all right,
Mhm.
and you're
Uh-huh.
growing three of them. But what's the next layer here, and then what's the next layer here? You
Uh-huh.
know, I'm asking what
Okay.
the
Okay,
next.
so for the because I'll have to give it to you in terms of each category. So the music one itself, because that one now I'm able to survive on a full time income based on that. It's kind of at that stage right? Because of the monthly subscribers, and also people pay me for services like I do online services where people send me the tracks and I mix and master it. What mixing and mastering is that you take a raw audio vocal recording, they send it to you, and you make it and you turn it into a professional sound based on the software you use, right? So I also get a lot of clients sending me their tracks to mix their tracks, to mix their records. Also do video editing for clients as well. So that's kind of one of the things I do. The next step on that side is kind of get it into the stage where it's a bigger production in the sense that multiple team members, multiple engineers, and yeah, just outsourcing the work within the team itself, just building the team itself. So and also to actually build a proper studio and then just kind of hire that out in a sense.
And
That's the music side of it.
what's the roadblock for you to achieve all this?
The roadblock for that one there.
Like all
I
this.
just I just need to continue it because I'm already at the stage, the music side of things, because that's the one I've been kind of focusing on for the past 6 months, like heavily. That makes sense. So if you check out, I'll send you a link to my YouTube channel afterwards. You kind of see, okay, oh well, this is a lot. So I've created the website myself, done all of that type of stuff, and I've got paying members on my website itself.
Yeah.
Okay. The next step after that is actually because I've got artists that I manage as well, and then actually produce videos for them as well.
Okay.
The next step for that one is to kind of get more, get more clients on the website itself. Then eventually the next kind of major step was to build the studio itself. But it's not like it's a critical thing that I kind of want. It's just a side thing that it's not even that. Yeah, it's a side thing that'll be the next logical thing to do on that music side. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. So that's the music side thing there. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about your sexual modalities. You're masculine, feminine, so obviously you're into music, so auditory. So talk about being audio kinesthetic. You know, having a good ear for music, sounds, learning from hearing.
It's funny because I even only got into music in 2017. So when I started making music itself, that's when I actually got into music. And because I actually kind of compared to other people or what I've been doing, because I initially started off as an artist, right? So I started just making music myself. And then it got to a point where people were like, oh, Cole, your music is good. Can you teach me how to do this? And I was like, okay, cool. So I kind of progressed faster than most individuals, both by, and I think that's mainly because of by doing itself. That's the more of the kinesthetic side of things as well. And also, one of the way, what was your question? Sorry.
Oh, I was asking you how you like. What are you doing with the audio kinesthetic stuff?
Okay, yeah. So I think one of the ways I kind of learn quick. I learn quick. Like if you used to put me in a room, this is one thing I kind of a lot of people kind of say about me is that if you used to put me in a room of individuals, and we were given a task of some sort, I'll probably be the one that kind of, in a sense, figures it out the fastest. I'm able to kind of pick up on things easily. That's why I've been able to do, especially tech related things and kind of things that revolve around like plugging in things and kind of doing these things and audio itself. Because I'm an audio engineer. That's kind of things that I kind of do. So anything kind of revolving around okay, physical, the actual technological things itself, I'm able to kind of pick up on those things kind of quickly. I don't know if that relates to the thing, but what was you trying to say?
Oh, I'm just wondering how you experience each of
Okay.
them, what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But yeah. In terms of like yeah, go on. Go on.
no, go ahead. Finish your
No,
story.
no, go on. Go on. What was you
Okay.
gonna say? Because I need because I like specific questions because it actually gives me a directive to answer the question and I can hit it head on. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the auditory stuff you kind of talked about already, and it's kind of obvious. So the kinesthetic stuff, you said it's doing with your hand essentially. Like for me, I teach spin, right? So I'm like when the moment I started teaching it, I noticed that I did have a knack for picking the right song that would go well with the movement, and it would feel good, it would feel right, it would have the right vibe essentially. So my spin class is doing pretty good now. Like there's like a wait list to get into my spin class. So it seems like, and the number one compliment I get is, oh, we love your music choice, right? So so that's like the auditory side. And then for the kinesthetic side, it's like the spin itself. It's like, okay, for this part of the song, the chorus, we're gonna stand up and we're gonna, sprint really fast, standing like and spin really fast. So, so I can pick the right movement for that specific part of the song, like let's say the chorus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's an example how I would use kinesthetic with auditory, audio kinesthetic. So I'm just wondering how you personally have used them together.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, so you want me to answer that again?
Yeah, how have
Oh,
you?
okay.
Yeah.
In the way I kind of learn things, I'll say like initially before I even got into just the whole OPS thing, I was the type of person that I learned by doing. Like I learned, but if you wanted to teach me anything, like if you tried to give me like a manual or something to like, okay, these are the steps, I'll most likely won't read it first. Now maybe later on to kind of after, because like recently I got like I think from IKEA, and I kind of fixed up myself like it was like a bookshelf, right? I fixed up myself. It looked a bit wonky, and then I was like, well, what's going on? Then I had to actually read the book the booklet afterwards. So my main way of actually going about doing things is you can tell me, like you can tell me, okay, this is how you do it. If you can kind of summarize it down to a specific point, you tell me that, okay, this is how you fix it, then I can probably get it. But then after that, I actually go about doing it myself. Then if I fail, which most likely not saying that it won't happen, but if I do end up not actually doing it correctly, then I'll go back to the audio again, and then the last resort would be to actually search it up. I just like doing that. I don't like searching up like for example like written up text in that sense.
So you're using your consume to fine tune what you're doing. Then is what you're saying.
Exactly.
So you'll do it first, and then if you hit a roadblock, then you consume to eliminate the roadblock. Or if you're doing something, you achieve a certain mastery. But if you want to fine tune it even more, then you'll consume to, go to the next level. Is that sounds like what you're doing?
Basically, yeah. Like
Um,
even go on. Say it.
well, I had another question, but finish your story first, and I'll answer the next question.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say even like with the thing I'm doing now, the mixing and mastering and the whole music thing itself, it's like I haven't gone through official channels to kind of go about learning what I need to learn. It's kind of just by trying what works. Like even the way I teach, like the things that I'm not so technical in the sense that I'm teaching you from a book. I'm just teaching you what I've kind of experienced and what I know that works, if that makes sense. Yeah, and then kind of go about that way. So
In a way, that's better because it's real life experience as opposed
yeah,
to BS.
and it works and it sounds good. So yeah, you was gonna ask another question.
Yeah. So my question, it's kind of interesting because your function stack does matter. The order does matter. So the higher your function stack is, even if it's a daemon, you have a higher capacity to learn or use it. So what I'm trying to get at here is, even though you have consumed third, your consume is still challenging for you because it's the third and fourth function being used. So you can use it and you see the value of using it, but it's still challenging for you to use it. Does that sound about right?
It does, and I think it depends on the formats. In that makes sense. So as I was saying before, if it is auditory consume, then it's an easier thing to kind of go about consuming than if it was like a written text format. It depends. Like not like if it's like a book or whatnot, but also actually that kind of does kind of play in part because I prefer audiobooks than actual reading the actual book itself. I think it's just based on the things I'm doing, I can go about actually consuming the audiobook itself in a faster format than actually just spending time reading. I consume less. So I think what I'm trying to say is that it takes me longer to actually consume in different formats, and I don't like the one that takes me the longest. That's basically it. I want the shortest format as possible. So when I do consume, yeah. So like I won't like if I was to like news articles and blogs and stuff like that. If I was to kind of unless I'm just like kind of just casually consuming like just going through the internet, then I can go about actually I can possibly learn a few things, but I won't go out my way to actually if my first choice of course would be to actually through some sort of auditory measures, if that makes sense.
I
Or
see.
some
Okay.
sort of video or audio. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm just wondering because I'm Blast Savior, but it's super hard for me to use it, even though it's second. It's SIT because it's my third and fourth function. So that's why I was comparing it with your consume, which is also your third and fourth function. Your Blast seems like really good. Like your Blast, like I have Blast Savior like you, but your Blast is your first two functions, and I'm like, I can't blast like you, even though I have it as a savior, you know. And but my consume, because it's my first two functions, even though it's third, it's a demon, I can use it pretty well actually. So like it's not like a big challenge for me to do it. It's like the only thing I have to do is just do it, right? So it's kind of interesting how for me how I see like the function stack work is like the order still matters. If it's a savior but it's your third and fourth function, it's gonna be challenging, but you know you're still doing it, you're getting the reps in, so even though it's hard you'll still get practice. Like your play, for example, it touches your fourth function, sorry, which is your SE, right? So technically part of your play is going to be challenging. Like the FE part's not going to be the hard part, it's going to be like the SE, right?
Yeah.
But because you put so much reps into that SE, it's like almost like not a
Like
problem anymore, you know.
yeah.
Like you have the functional use of the SE, you know, to the point where it's fine. So you're not like, you know, like the typical INFJ that has like chaos problem because they didn't consume anything, you know, they didn't gather anything from self-research or the tribe, right? Because you're doing both. You consume from two ways, right? People or your own research. So you're doing both, so you don't have like typical INFJ issues. I guess your biggest problem is like your unprocessed with the NT, which you're doing right now with your phone, right? Your phone journaling. So yeah. Yeah. So okay, cool. All right, man. I think I answered. I already asked you all the questions. Before we wrap up the interview, do you have any last minute question for me?
Repeat your type again, please.
Oh, I'm an ENFP jumper, NETE, play, blast, consume, sleep, masculine, feminine.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna ask you, how did you get into OP? I think you probably explained this a lot, but how did you?
How did I get to OPS?
Yeah.
Well, I used to watch the old Dave Superpowers video, like his old video. I don't know if you've seen them, but he used to have those old videos where he would show how function stack works. And that's what got me into like him eventually. So basically, I still use his old stuff until he reintroduced his channel again. You know, he shut down his RC business, right? And then so for me, it really made a big difference in my life. Like practicing all like the function stack that he used a long time ago. That when the OPS came out, I'm like, well, this makes perfect sense. I mean, how the hell is there only 16 types? There's like billions of people on planet Earth, and you're gonna say there's only like 16 different people. You know, I swear I've seen more different variety than 16. You know, like it doesn't make sense, and it is definitely confusing. That's how some certain types, like some INFJ, for example, are like you, extremely extroverted, and then you have one that are extremely introverted. But then if you look at the traditional Myers-Briggs, then all the INFJs are supposed to be introverted, or as they call it, the most extroverted of all the introverts. so so I think like the variety thing was the one that caught my eye. I was like, okay, wow, there's a lot more different variety for each type, and you can't pigeonhole people to a certain type that's not even that they can't relate to, you know, because they don't have the same animal stack, you know, as the other of the same type as you. And then for me, like when I got typed as play boss, I was like, ah, shit, I'm the most extroverted ENFP type, you know. So yeah, so I mean, for me, it's for self growth essentially, like to prevent the problem that occurs because of the fourth function and the fourth animal. So for me, it's like OPS. Like I got into it because it's the roadmap to success essentially.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I was gonna ask also because you said you've traveled now 89 countries.
Yeah.
Out of what was the max number? What was the total number?
There's 193 UN recognized countries.
Okay.
Yeah.
89. So, what's the next step with that? Like, what's the
well, the pandemic happened, so a lot of my travel plans got canceled. But this December, I'm planning on going to Tanzania in Africa. So hopefully that will be number 90. We'll see.
Okay. And do you go alone, or do you go with your girlfriend, or how like?
Yeah, I've done a mix of everything. Like I would say 80% was alone. Like because so for me, like I'm sleep last like you. So part of being sleep last is being able to do things yourself without collaborations or anything. Is like, are you able to be self-sufficient essentially? And can you put yourself in a situation where you can process your thoughts and your feelings over and over again? So I took a year off to go backpacking between 2016 and 2017, and I had tons of long plane rides and bus rides where I was by myself, and I did not listen to music. did not listen to anything external. I just like literally like had 24-hour bus rides, and I would just like look out the window and and just like process, you know, my life essentially, like what happened. And like I thought about every single relationships I've had, you know, and you know, thought about how I felt about them. And you know, so like when I came back after my 1 year trip, I felt like I was able to make better decisions for myself, because now I knew what made me feel better and what made me not feel better. But in a way, I was able to create a template on how to do that, because like when I came back, um you know, I had to go back to work. Now I'm seeing my friends again, because I was away for 1 whole year outside North America, right? You know, going from, I was in Africa, Middle East, Europe, South America, Asia, Oceania. So like now I have a template. Like I don't drive with music on. I drive pure silence so I can process my thoughts and feelings, right? Any given moment I have, when I work out, I don't listen to music either. I work out with pure like silence. And like I don't like working out when there's like a gym or like I like working out by myself now too, because like for me, it's a time for me to, like, the kinesthetic allows me to process my thoughts and feelings, you know. So that's how I'm using my sleep processing now, because of the travel. The travel gave me a template on how to sleep process. So even when I got typed by Dave and Chan, they're like, "Holy crap, you can use your fourth animal," you know. They're like, we don't know how you did it, but you pulled it off. I'm like, sweet, okay, great. You know, they said they're like, you're not finished though. You need to work on your SF. I'm like, ah, shit, okay, I need to work on that. So they said the emotional part is good, but the SF side is lacking. I'm like, okay. But it's good to know what I need to work on. So I'll work on the SF. So like, you know, I'm still sucking at it, you know, but like I wear like a nice V-neck, and then I'm wearing like when I teach spin, I do my hair. So I'm trying to working on the SF stuff, you know. So work in progress, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so have you traveled within the whole of like Canada, or you just kind of just live in? You said Vancouver.
I live in Vancouver. I've been to Montreal. I've been to, I think I've just, yeah, and I live in a province called British Columbia. I live in the West Coast.
Okay.
So have you been to US or Canada?
No.
No. Okay.
But you can continue explaining as you proceed.
Well, I live close to the US, so it's like a 3-hour drive for me to go to the US. So before the pandemic, I used to drive to the US every week. Actually, I used to get like it's a 1 hour drive actually to go to the US, not 3 hours. It's 1 hour to go to the US. So I used to go to the US all the time because everything's cheaper in the US, right? So I used to go to the US, buy groceries there. They have cheaper organic food.
Oh, okay. So when you buy the groceries, is that like a week's worth of groceries, or just like
a week's worth? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I used to, but I mean, since the pandemic, I can't do that. But yeah, a lot of Canadians they do it. They have cheaper gas there too, so I go to the US to fill up gas. So fill up gas, fill up groceries. You know, like everything's cheaper. Like if you want to buy a camera, you want to buy a computer, it's cheap. It's so much cheaper in the US.
Okay.
You know, so everything's
also,
bigger. Yeah, go ahead.
Everything. Okay. Also, so have you lived in the US for a short period before?
No, never.
Oh, okay. So you just kind of visited and just.
Yeah, I visit a lot because it's easy, because it's like an hour drive, right? And it's like
So how did you end up living in Vancouver? Did your whole family move there? Is that something you said before?
Yeah, my family immigrated from the Philippines when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when was the last time you went back to the Philippines?
2018. 2018.
Okay.
It's been a while, yeah.
Okay. So when you came back, when you came back from your 1 year traveling trip, when did you come back? 2019?
I traveled between 2016 to 2017, so I came back.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a 1 year. I did it because I don't know if you saw the Matrix, the movie. You know, they give you a red pill and a blue pill. But I saw the 1 year trip as a red pill because it gave me a reality check of what life really is. Because like if you live in just a small bubble, like you live in the UK, right? Or I live in Canada, then the culture that you're exposed to is just like within that bubble. So you think you know a lot, but you actually know nothing. And so when I ventured off, I kind of saw the universal truth about the human experience, essentially. You know,
and what would you what would you say that is, if you to explain it? Or you can continue then also.
In general, there in life, the universal truth is there's both good and bad people. There's more good than bad, and people in general want to help you, you know, even if they're not high play like us, they still want to help you. And the other thing that I learned about, so that's what I learned about people, but what I learned about self is trust your gut. Your gut knows when it's safe and when it's not safe. Like you almost have like a spider sense. Like you know when you're in a dangerous place, or like, because like I traveled in South Africa, for example, and South Africa is not safe, right? Like I rented a car and drove from Johannesburg all the way to Cape Town, and
Alone? By yourself?
me and my girlfriend,
Oh, okay.
just us
Yeah.
two, but we're foreigners, so you know we could easily get robbed and stuff. But no, we just trusted our gut. Like we went in this gas station and I saw like a local supermarket, and then I felt like it was kind of shady there. There's something off about the feeling. Even my girlfriend also felt a little bit off. And she's like, oh, there was someone following me trying to like pickpocket me, you know, in the gas station, you know. But then another situation, we went to another gas station during the road trip, and also there's a lot of people there and stuff. But when we looked around, we're like, feels safe here. It feels okay. And it was. So your gut definitely tells you, like when you think of the safety net, I guess you could say, because like here, if you live in the UK or Canada, it's pretty safe. You know, you can walk outside, you're okay, right? Like I've been to the UK before. Like I never felt like in danger there or anything. But like I've been to like countries where it's like sketchy, right? And I'm like I was in Venezuela, for example, and when I went there was like a civil war happening, and I was like, you know, I was like, oh, shit, like am I gonna get shot? You know, so you know, from a scale of 1 to 10, you know, 1 is like you feel completely calm and safe. You can zone out and no one's gonna touch you. To 10 is like, you know, it's danger zone, right? So like I kind of have that internal instinctual scale like that I've developed since traveling, you know, like so
okay, when did you come to the UK? You said you've been to the UK.
Yeah, I went there in 2017. I went to I was there. I was in the UK for 5 days, and then UK for 4 days, and Scotland for 5 days.
Okay, so each country, how long did you, on average, when you from 2016 to 2017, how many countries did you visit within that time period?
75.
75. And then how long did you stay in each country approximately?
I did a mix. So 6 months I went all out crazy, and 6 months I stayed long. So 6 countries I stayed for 30 days or longer, and the other 6 months I went crazy. Like I would stay in a country between 1 to 7 days.
Okay. You know? And what determined the time frame? Because you planned for it extensively, correct?
Yeah.
What determined? Is it just something like just
a price is one of them, because certain countries are. So the 6 countries I stayed for to a month or close to a month were South Africa, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, Colombia, and Poland. Those were the 6 countries where I stayed 6 months or close to 6 months. Or no, so 1 close to 30 days, sorry.
Yeah.
Give or take. Like I was in Colombia for 38, for example. And but anyways, it was priced. Like those countries were not expensive. I had means to secure cheaper accommodation, or I had was able to do volunteer work to get free accommodation in exchange for labor, essentially. So, and then the other 6 months I just went crazy, like just to take off my list, pretty much.
So for the volunteer work you did, is that something where you just appeared and then after you kind of just offered, or they kind of, how did that go?
Yeah, so there's a website called workaway.info, and so you can do volunteer work abroad through that website. Basically, it depends on the organization that you're volunteering in. Like it's kind of funny that what you end up doing is pure chaos, really. Like I was in Colombia, and they got me to they got me in because this hostel that I volunteered in had a Thai restaurant in it, and I was Asian, so I legitimized the restaurant having like an Asian person working in their Thai restaurant, because there's no Asians in Colombia, right? So and then later on, the owner of the hostel in Colombia, he was American, so me and him we hit it off, and he and he said, okay, I want to give you a better job. So he made me work in the front desk, and my job was so silly. It's like my job was to translate from Spanish to English, and I don't speak Spanish. So I thought it was.
So how did that? So what happened there?
It's because when I first volunteered, my job was to work in the kitchen. I was washing dishes and cutting vegetables, right? But then later on, they're like, "Wait a minute, you're Asian. You should be serving the table so that they can see an Asian person working in the restaurant." So they put me in the restaurant, and I was serving table with like food, right? And then later on, because the owner liked me so much, okay, I'm gonna give you a shorter shift so we can hang out, So I'm like, okay, cool. So he made me work front desk, and like, but the whole process, like, I actually started learning how to speak Spanish. Because I was working
on the job.
Because I'm like you, I learned by doing. I don't learn by like reading first, right? So like, because I remember there was like this one girl I was working with, and she was very like judgmental. I think she's probably a single desire, but like she's scared to try to speak Spanish because she's scared she's gonna get judged. But like, because I'm a double decider, I don't care about making an ass of myself. So like, I would go to the kitchen and say like trash Spanish, pretty much, like, but they would correct me, and they would tell me the right one, and eventually I would pick it up, and I can say it properly. And by the time I got to the front desk, like I said, I don't speak Spanish, but the guy I was working with is Spanish, so he would start teaching me Spanish, right? So I'm getting Spanish lessons essentially, and like and by the end of it, you can throw me in a Spanish country now, and like I won't be able to have a conversation with anyone like fluently or anything, but I can get by. Like I won't die. Like I can get from point A to point B with my shit Spanish.
Yeah. Okay, so you learned basically on the job.
Yeah, on the job, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So where would you say your Spanish is now? Like what?
Beginner.
Okay. So I understand.
Functional Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I can't have a deep conversation with anyone, but I can like get from point A to point B.
So what other type of jobs did you end up doing?
Yeah, I was in Poland. I was teaching English.
Oh, just teaching English.
Yeah, I picked up a
classroom.
Gig. No, it's like 101. It's like you're tutoring someone pretty much.
Okay, and they pay you?
No, you don't get paid. They give you free accommodation and 3 meals a day.
In exchange for
Yeah, in exchange for for you to teach English. But it was a good experience because I like after I finished it, I made so many friends, like Polish friends. So like some of them they invited me to go stay at their place, so I was able to like get that like local experience. They showed me around their city too, which was super nice. So and I also made friends with other volunteers. So when I went to Scotland, I stayed at I was friends with this one girl in that volunteer, and I stayed in her family's farm. So it was super cool. They showed me around the farm. They showed me how they shear the sheep's wool, where they take the sheep to get butchered, essentially. And they drove me around the lot and stuff. Taught me some swear words in Scotland. Some Scottish like words. Yeah, it was great, man. I loved it.
I could tell you. Yeah, it sounds like you had a nice time. Okay, so that was in Scotland. Okay, so how long did you stay in Scotland again? Was it 7 days? You said
5 days.
5 days.
So four in London and five in Scotland. In Scotland, I was mostly near Aberdeen, but I was in Edinburgh for 1 day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Here's the technique. Okay, I'll tell you the technique. If you ever go backpacking for a year, you go to Europe last, because every single friend that you'll make is European, and then by the time you get to Europe, you can visit all your European friends and you can stay in their place. Like I was in Denmark. I slept in a trailer. I was in Ukraine. I slept in one of those like old Soviet looking buildings. I slept in an old Soviet train too.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an adventure for sure. In the UK, when I was in London, I stayed at my friend's house. She got me like an inflatable mattress. I slept on the floor. Yeah, and I got like.
So what did you kind of like in your backpack? Like, what was your? How many clothes did you bring? Like, how did you go about?
44 liter. So my backpack was 44 liters, and then I had a front backpack for my electronics, and then.
Okay. What electronics did you bring?
I had a MacBook Air 2015, and I had a GoPro Hero 4. And I had a Canon G7X camera, and then back then.
Okay. So because you recorded quite a lot, but your travel your YouTube channel now, do you kind of make videos on like information type videos, like best credit cards?
So I'm what you call a travel hacker. So I hack travel. Okay. So I took a year off to go travel with only when I left Canada. I only had 17,500 Canadian dollar. So that's about like what, like I don't know, divided by like 1.5. I don't know what that is, but like to convert to pounds, essentially, or euros. It's like 1.5 Canadian is €1. Okay, so just to give you the conversion. So I didn't have much money, but because I hacked travel, like my flights, like I can fly across the Atlantic or Pacific for just like $100, for example, right? Usually you would have to pay $1,000 for that. So
yeah.
so I teach people how to travel hack using sign up bonuses, like credit card sign up bonus points and stuff. You know, like you know, I even like I even flew first class in that 1 year trip. I flew first class on Cathay Pacific, and I was a backpacker, so I went into the first class cabin with a backpack on, and then they're like, what do you do for a living? I was like, I work in a community center. They're like, how much do you make in a year? I'm like, 30 grand. I'm like, what's this guy doing in a first class? You know? And I was like sitting there, I'm eating caviar and I didn't even know what I was doing. I was like, I don't know what to do with caviar shit. Okay, I'll just put it in this bread and I'll eat it. You know?
Oh, so did you end up buying how much new things did you end up purchasing when you traveled?
I didn't buy anything.
Okay, nothing.
No.
Nothing at all.
No, because it would be cumbersome. I tried to travel light, so I had to carry what was just in my backpack. So I didn't bring anything with me. No souvenirs or anything.
Yeah. Well, okay, so the photos, like in terms of your electronics, how did you go? Like, how much memory card space did you have?
For my, I had I don't remember.
Like storage in total.
Yeah, I had like 1 2 terabyte hard drive and 1 terabyte external hard drive, and then I had a memory card that I think was 64 gigs, and I had a 32 gig one. So I had those memory card, and I had a GoPro 64 gig micro SD.
Okay, so it was enough to kind of suffice for the whole.
Yeah, no, because I had a system. So after I spent a day gathering pictures and videos, the first thing I do when I get back to my accommodation is I upload to Dropbox right away.
Oh, okay.
And then I empty the memory card and then rinse and repeat, right? Yeah.
Okay. So interesting, because I was gonna think, okay, how about like when it comes to washing your clothes, how did you go about doing that in various countries?
Okay, so before I left Canada, I bought this thing called the Scrubber. It's a green bag where you put liquid in it, like detergent and stuff, and then you put hot water in your clothes, and it has like a rib in the bottom to kind of scrub your clothes. And so you just fold it. It's a green like plastic looking thing, and then you scrub it. So you can wash your clothes in this bag anywhere you go. It's portable too, so you can like pretty much fold it in a small triangle, and then you can bring it up to a big bag. So that's what I did if I didn't have access to a washing machine. But if I had a washing machine, I would obviously use that. So like I try to stay in an Airbnb at least once a week, because usually when you stay in Airbnb, you have access to the washing machine and dryer. So once a week I would do like a deep clean, and then the other days I would do like the scrubber clean, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was gonna ask, determining the countries you're gonna visit initially, did you like throw a dart at the map, then you chose, or how did you go about?
I know I planned it.
Okay.
Okay. Like I knew I wanted to stay like at least 3 weeks in South Africa. I knew I wanted to stay at least 1 month in Africa. So I planned the duration I'm gonna go in every region of the continent. I don't necessarily say, okay, in this country I'll be here for X amount of days, but like I kind of did, like in Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines. I did say 30 days. I'm like, okay, great, 30 days, right? Just because it's cheap, so I'll stay there longer. Like expensive countries like Norway or Switzerland, I was only there for a few days, right? Like I was only in Norway for 1 day. For Switzerland, my sister had a friend that married a Swiss guy, so I stayed in their place for a week.
Okay. Oh,
right?
wow. So I was gonna ask. Okay, so the formation of the idea to travel, what age did it happen at, or like what year?
I was 31.
Okay.
I was 31. I'm 37 now. So do you know Chris Guillebeau? I don't know if you read the book, The $100 Startup.
No, I don't know who that is.
Okay, well, anyways, he's an American author. He wrote a book called The $100 Startup. He also wrote a book called Born for This and Side Hustle and a bunch of other books. He traveled to every single country in the world and himself. So he had like do you know Creative Live Studio? Have you heard of it? Chase Jarvis?
Continue. I'll just search up quickly.
Okay, you can look up. Yeah, Creative Live is located in Seattle, and also I think they have a branch in California somewhere.
Right.
And basically it's like a platform. It's kind of like Udemy and Skillshare, but like but it's only for like creatives like music, like painting, anything artistic related, essentially. But they also cover business and psychology. So like you can, if you go there, you can see Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss he's a stakeholder for the company, for example. So I went to the studio. So the guy Chris Gilbo, because he's a celebrity author, he had a entry draw on his blog, and he's looking for people to enter the draw. And if you get picked, you get to go live to Creative Live Studio, and they're gonna do like a live filming of his course called "Make Your Dream Trip a Reality." So I signed up for the draw. My gut feeling told me I was gonna get picked, and I did. I got picked. So I got picked, and then when I went there, I realized why I got picked, because I was the token Asian guy. But yeah, because I went there, I was like, there's one Asian guy and one black guy. I'm like, something. I think, but I was like, okay, I'll take it as positive racism. But but yeah, I remember I was sitting there and they're teaching all these concepts on how to like find all the travel loopholes so you can travel for cheap. Or affordable. Even you can even fly on first class for like the price of economy. So they're like teaching all these concepts and stuff, right? But that's not what I got out of the thing, because the truth is because I'm lead NT, so I'm good at figuring things out to begin with, and I've already figured out how to hack travel before going there. But what I got out of there was the NF. I was sitting there, I remember, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? like all these people have gone on like such amazing adventures, and here I am just going on a little lonely vacation. And I was thinking to myself, I'm really having a hard time in my life at that time period. Like it was a really low point in my life. And I was like, I think I need to do something huge to just break out this rut and to give me a sense of purpose and meaning. And that is to go travel the world for 1 year. And I was also going to start a travel blog, because I didn't have a travel blog back then. I was just working as a fitness trainer, right? So I'm going to start a travel blog, and this is going to be my way out. And this is going to be my new thing, my thing that's going to be like, I'm going to commit to. I'm an EP. I don't commit. I have commitment issues. So I was like, I'm going to commit to this. My FI locked into it really hard, right? Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, I have 1 year to save up money and go travel for a year. So I'm going to go crazy now and do nothing but work. I work 3 jobs, save up money, and save up enough points, like freaking 500 miles, to go on this massive 1 year around the world journey. So I did that, and yeah, best life decision ever. I have to say, everyone has to do it once, at least once in their life. Like Tim Ferriss did it too. Like everyone has to do it. Like you have to. I feel like everyone has to take a gap year and travel around the world. You come back, you are not the same person. There is just things that you can never. It's like a red pill. You once you know, you cannot unlearn.
I totally get. Yeah, that makes sense. Because the reason why I'm asking you all this question, because I've been planning something like this as well for the next few years to come.
What do you want to do?
I'm gonna basically travel the world. So I've been kind of saving up. That's why I kind of need to, in a sense, scale up everything else to kind of fund that eventually. But yeah, I'm kind of finishing up a lot of things here at home.
Oh, I see. You're building up the engine so that when you leave,
that way when I go, I can actually at least sustain it a bit more from when I'm not actually physically working.
Yeah. So you're building up the systems and
yeah. Similar. Yeah. I was gonna ask, who was Kendrick in high school?
He was a nerd.
Like what do you mean when I say like?
I'm still a nerd, but
I get what you're saying, but yeah.
Oh, so, I was a scrawny 105-pound guy with low self-confidence and unsure of myself and couldn't assert myself. But I had a lot of friends, so I still had a good time. I've always been blessed with friendship. So that was me in high school in a nutshell.
Okay.
Yeah. No direction in life. That was it. I think that was my biggest thing that I was figuring out, was what I wanted to do with my life. Yeah.
Okay. And then who was Kendrick at after? So what did you study at? Did you go to university or college?
I went to college. I finished a diploma in business management. I didn't finish my degree. I was 6 courses shy from getting my degree. I was in 4th year already. But at that point, I said, "Fuck this! I quit. I'm gonna become. I'm not learning anything. I'm gonna go." I was in business school. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a personal trainer.
Oh, so you said you're gonna be personal trainer after that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what led to that was my father passed away from colon cancer, and colon cancer is preventable through exercise and nutrition.
Uh-huh.
And at that point, it was, like I said, it was a low point. Like my father passed away. I keep getting rejected by girls that I like. You know, it was like horrible. So it's for me. I was like, hey, I need to change my life, and
Uh-huh.
I need to find a path that is more meaningful for me. You know, so the fitness one was the one that made the most sense at that time period. I don't regret it. Like I'm still doing it right now. You know, so
Mhm.
for an EP, that's pretty good. Like I've been doing it for like I don't know, like 9 years now, 8 years,
Oh,
9 years.
wow.
So it's
Mm.
pretty good. But yeah, but it was like a stepping stone. If you go to Creative Live, they did an interview with Neil Strauss. I don't know if you know who he is, but he wrote a book called The Game.
Mhm.
I don't know if you heard of the
Yeah.
book. It's a book
Um.
about pickup artists. It's a really good book.
Oh,
I
okay.
think you should
Uh-huh.
read it. It's very provoking.
Uh-huh.
But anyways,
Uh-huh.
um, and Chase Jarvis was interviewing him, right? And then
Mhm.
pretty much he said in life, you um you kind of go one direction, but then after you hit a certain point in that direction, you notice that you need to pivot somewhere else, and then you pivot, obviously. But no matter how many pivots that you do, you're still going up, is what he said, and eventually
Right.
you'll reach your goal. So I just kind of learned to trust that process, you know. So for
Mhm.
me, fitness was the starting point, because even though I didn't know that what I wanted to do afterwards, I knew that the next step was at least fitness, because I was going to learn how to do public speaking. I was going to learn how to coach people. And once I built up those sufficient skills and I went to that creative live studio,
Yeah.
I became a travel blogger, essentially. I'm still doing the
Mhm.
fitness stuff too, but travel blogging, yeah. So I learned how to write because of travel blogging, and that travel blogging is all sleep processing. So I'm like, I was
Mhm.
forced to learn how to process. Um, and then I also learned how to capture videos and make videos, video edit. I'm not good at video editing. I'm okay, but like not the best or anything.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, and then later on, like in the back of my head, I've always wanted to do personality stuff. I just didn't know when to pull the trigger. And
Okay.
so it wasn't until like I met Dave and Shan in Seattle, because they had a meetup in Seattle, and I went there and
Mhm.
met. I was talking to Shan. I still remember talking to Shan. I was telling her my plan. I was like, yeah, I want to start a YouTube channel. She's like, why don't you start it today? I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I am gonna start today. I actually contacted Dave already, and I'm gonna interview him as my first video on this channel.
Okay.
And then yeah, and then I interviewed Dave, and he was the first video ever I had in my YouTube channel, and then the rest is history. Now I'm doing this, interviews with you, like a bunch of other
Right.
people. I'm
Uh-huh.
still doing the travel stuff. I still have the fitness stuff. So yeah, there you go, man. That's my story.
Okay. Okay. I was gonna ask the business management diploma that you got.
Yeah.
How has it helped you at any any way? Has it helped you in any way? Or
Uh,
what
the
do you
only thing I
kind
learned in the only thing I learned in college was how to ask girls out, and
of?
and how to throw house parties. So the answer is no.
Oh,
But I would not trade that experience for anything. I think that experience in
uh-huh.
college was like worth it, because like ever since then I know how to talk to anyone pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's so interesting. So now, also this December you're going to. I forgot the country you're going to.
Tanzania.
Tanzania. And then after that, are you going anywhere after that, or is just Tanzania is just the main place for December?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go other places too. I want to go to the neighboring African countries. I want to go to Kenya, Ethiopia, and Seychelles. Those are what I'm aiming for. But if I don't hit the other ones, it's fine. Like Tanzania is
Oh,
the main
so
one.
that's just for the whole of December, or just for which part? When?
That last 3 weeks of December.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after that, say 2022, when would be the? Would you be traveling then as well?
Yeah, I already booked that one. It's May 1st.
Okay.
I'm going to the
So wait.
Maldives.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I don't know if you know anything about the Maldives, but they have the overwater bungalow. I don't know if you've seen those,
Okay.
like
Uh huh.
the yeah the bungalows on top of the water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I managed to hack enough points to go stay for free in
Okay.
in that dream resort that costs $1,000 per night minimum for one
Okay.
for
So
5 days.
oh, so you're going there for 5 days. So
Yeah.
where else are you going after? If
After
you
I'm
can.
going to Nepal, I'm going to hike the Annapurna circuit in the Himalayas. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Did you so? Any sports that you play? Are there any like specific sports?
Not anymore. I used to play basketball.
What position?
No position. I just play street ball.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I played basketball. Played ping pong, and I played. I did a little bit of. I studied MMA like mixed martial arts. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember I was good at grappling, but I was horrible at striking. Like I can't
Okay.
strike to save my life. But I seem to have an innate talent for grappling. I think it's the SI. I think Dave said people with SI are good at wrestling. You're controlling
Yeah.
the physical, right? So
No,
I
I can
remember
see.
being a
Yeah.
yeah, I beat a black belt. I remember I was only a blue belt and I beat a black belt just from grappling. I was like, oh, well, damn. Like the SI is definitely good, but like striking, oh man, I suck. I got kicked in the face. It was horrible. I got punched in the nose. It's horrible. It's terrible.
That's interesting. So when you go on your like, this is for the future and for the past. Like when you went on your traveling, what would you do in your spare time? Like, like
I was
was it still
working.
sleep process? Oh, working.
What do you mean during my travels?
Oh,
During my travels or during before the travel?
during the travel.
Oh no, I did a mix of stuff, man. Like I did work, of course, in between because
Mhm.
I had a blog to run, so I have to
Okay.
write my
Yeah.
articles, you know. But no, it's weird because like I think travel taught me how to use sleep, like because like I would be traveling so fast and I'll be so exhausted, so I learned how to manage my energy. So like
Right.
I'll be like, okay, I'm going on a 6 day trek in Venezuela, going up Mount Roraima. Mount Roraima
Uh-huh.
is the mountain from the movie Up. Have you seen Up?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you know, Paradise Falls and all that stuff.
I think so. I think so.
Well,
Yeah.
anyways, so
Continue.
that movie was inspired by that mountain in Venezuela. It looks exactly like the mountain there, and the waterfalls is the world's highest waterfall called Angel Falls. So like
Mhm.
when I planned a trip, I would always like think, okay, I'm gonna be doing this crazy stuff the next few days. So the next few days, I'm just gonna relax, and then I'm gonna schedule breaks in between the trip so I can like recharge my batteries before I go to the next destination. I never used
Oh,
to do that when I was
oh,
younger,
yeah, your real batteries.
like my physical batteries, like
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
like not my electronics, but but I did charge my electronics too, of course.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, but like yeah, no, because like it's so exhausting to go on like extreme adventure, right?
Yeah.
Like if you watch my older interviews, I talked to the other people I interviewed, and I told them that I was with a smuggler in the middle of the Amazon rainforest.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I don't know if you heard that story before, but
No.
yeah, I took a minibus in Guyana, and I ended up with a smuggler. The driver was a smuggler, and we got caught by the military checkpoint, you know.
Okay.
So like, and I got stranded in the middle of the Amazon rainforest at 2 a.m. In the middle of
Oh.
nowhere. No place to
How,
go, no place to
how,
eat. Yeah.
how did you resolve that issue? How,
Next morning at 8:30 a.m. It was like there's no roads there, but like a random like I think he was like a forest service worker drove in with a pickup truck, and we all begged the guy to take us to a town. And he extorted money from us, but we had no choice. He was the only guy.
oh,
You know.
oh, okay.
Yeah, the guy looks like 50 Cent too. Actually, that I remember. Yeah, I still remember that. I was like, "Fuck, this 50 Cent guy's taking my money. He's gathering my money."
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. That's so interesting. Okay. So what? Traveling is just gonna remain part of your life every year, like year to year.
The goal is to hit 100 countries, and then I will slow down a bit because I need to settle down.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
my goal is to hit every country in the world. Like I remember reading a book called The Alchemist. I don't know if you've read the book before, but
Mhm.
in the book it says that everyone has a personal legend, which is your life mission. And then if you betray your life mission, then you will always have this lingering feeling of regret that you can never shake off.
Mhm.
So my personal life mission is to go to every single country in the world, and that's kind of like my guiding light that
Mhm.
keeps me moving on a day-to-day basis. That
Uh-huh.
like so
Yeah.
yeah.
So then okay, that makes sense. So after when you're settling down, what's the ideal setting for settling down?
Well, it's kind of expensive to live in Canada, but if I can live in Canada, I would prefer to live. If I had the money, I would settle down in Canada. But if I don't, and I don't mind doing what I did before and live in another country because it's cheaper. Like like if you think about passive income, like what is like the most what is the most passive income that people usually do? Well, don't they usually like buy like a property and rent it out to people? Isn't that like the tried and true way to earn passive income, right?
Uh-huh.
So we both live in Western society, so properties are expensive to the max. Like it's so expensive, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, the UK is so expensive. I live in Vancouver, Canada, which is even more expensive than the UK for properties.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I was like, I can't do that. I can't even have the down payment, So,
Okay.
but I'm dual citizen, So there's a YouTube channel that I would recommend. It's called Nomad Capitalist. Uh, Pretty much they talk about like having like an international business.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, and so I kind of want to follow that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get like I'm gonna buy real estate in another country. I think the Philippines is most likely what I'm gonna do. They had a chart of different like growth rate for properties in other countries, and Philippines is in the top 3 for best growth rate. So I'm gonna go invest there. Yeah, I have an unfair advantage because I have a Philippine passport.
Oh, okay.
So I can buy land, which foreigners cannot. So I do have that. So I'll take advantage of the unfair advantage.
Okay. So it will be, so that's the passive income, right?
Yeah. So like, because I watched an interview between what's his name? What's that guy's name? The valuetainment guy. What's his name?
Patrick Bet David.
Yeah. So I saw an interview between him and
Grant Cardone.
No, the Nomad Capitalist guy. Nomad Capitalist. So the YouTube channel I told you. So they did an interview together, and the Nomad the Patrick guy, he said that if you're selling like an online course and all that shit, he said you're basically just a motivational speaker. He said there's nothing wrong with that, but he prefers to build a business that is concrete and real. So he said that. So after he said that, I really thought about it. I'm like, does that resonate with me? I'm like 50% it does actually, not fully 100%, but 50% it does. The 50 that I do want to do the motivational stuff too, but like the 50% it does resonate with me. So I do want something concrete also that's physical. So it gave me the idea to explore the idea of investing in foreign real estate, just because it's more accessible, it's more affordable. Like if you had 20 grand, you can already buy properties in Asia, right? And it's yours. Like, you could for 20 grand, you can own a property 100% paid off. Like it's yours. There's no mortgage payment, right? And you can rent it out. Sure, the monthly earnings that you earn will be lower than your home country, but the feeling of having something that's 100% yours is empowering. And that's how I kind of see it. It's like, I want something to be 100% mine. I'm an EP, so I'm not good at organizing, sorry. So, but I think it's like, I'm now in the stage of my life where I feel like, I think I need to start building now. Stop. The gathering, the only thing I'm going to gather now is the travel stuff, but the rest I'm going to start focusing on the organizing,
Right. That makes sense. Okay. So that's because you spoke about, that's the income gathering side of things, or making the income. So where would so I guess you kind of touched upon it.
My ideal thing is I want to live in Colombia, Malaysia, and Canada. I want to live in 3 different countries. That's my ideal life. I want to have a property in Colombia, a property in Malaysia, and a property in Canada. And I want to be the kind of person that bounces between those 3 countries, like 4 months, 4 months, 4 months. I don't want to live in Canada during winter. The winter here sucks. Freaking cold. So, but we have beautiful summers. We have beautiful springs. So springs and summer, I'd love to live here. Colombia, the city of Medellin, where Pablo Escobar is from, that's called the city called Eternal Spring. The weather is beautiful the whole year round, 22 degrees the whole year, perfect. I love that city. So I would love to live in Colombia or near that Medellin. And then I'd love to live in. So I've traveled in Asia, and Malaysia was my favorite country. So I'd love to live in Malaysia, because Malaysia is like a melting pot of different cultures. So you go there, you don't feel like there's so many people from around the world that goes to Malaysia. Like you see, like, white people, black people, Asian people, everyone's together, Arabs, whatever. And I like that. I like that, the multiculturalness of it,
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems like a good, like that seems like, but how would you balance, like, let's say are you planning to have kids by any chance? If you don't mind me asking.
Yes.
Okay, so how would you go about settling for your children?
Well, obviously I can't do that if I have kids. So.
Okay.
I'm talking about my my ideal situation.
Okay, so let's say that's okay. So that would be like 20 years down the line ish.
Yeah, probably. Like realistically speaking, that's probably gonna be like more further down the line. I do see it being possible for me to live in 2 places.
Yeah.
Or even so, like if I have kids, then they have summers off, right? So in the summers we don't have to be in Canada. So
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It would be like a, 10 months in Canada, 2 months out. That's pretty much like the thing. Or maybe even Christmas, I can go somewhere for 2 weeks, right? So
Okay. So
so
initially it'll be like that, then eventually you could afford to do the 4 months, 4 months, 4 months.
yeah, I mean, like, like let's say I have kids, then the first 5 years before they start elementary school, then it's not a big deal. I can still do that other stuff I'm kind of mentioning, right?
Yeah.
But obviously at some point I have to set roots somewhere, right? So
Where would
if
that
I,
be? Like for if it was for your children, where would you want it to be?
ah, well, realistic really, so I'll tell you my ideology and my what's realistic. So realistically speaking,
Yeah.
it would have to be in Canada, obviously.
Yeah.
But if ideally I would like to do it in an Asian country, at least for the first few years. I'd like like if I have kids, I'd like them to experience their teenage years in Canada, because I think teenage years in Canada is awesome. But before the teenage years, I don't think they need to be in Canada. I think,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. I get what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same shit. Like, my opinion.
Uh-huh.
Like
Uh-huh.
the only thing that they'll be behind in is is English, essentially.
Mhm.
But I think if they, let's say if they come here for like grade 6, I think that's enough to catch up in English.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
If you don't mind me asking, how many kids do you want?
I want 2.
Okay.
Yeah, one boy,
Okay.
one girl. Typical. No, nothing special.
Okay. 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 That's interesting. Oh wow. So which Asian country did you say? Just what, the Philippines
I'm born there,
or
but
just
that's not my favorite place in Asia. My favorite place is
okay?
Thailand and Malaysia. So
Okay.
I'd like to live in Malaysia. That
Okay.
Thailand is a good place for a solo traveler to live in. But if I have a
Okay.
family, I would like to live in Malaysia. It's
Yeah.
yeah, because I was
Yeah.
already yeah,
Go on.
go.
Go on. I was just gonna say I get what you're saying, but continue.
Yeah, no, because I just felt like Malaysia was like, it felt more modern, you know.
Mm.
I was even surprised. I went there and I was blown away how like Malaysia had the best of both worlds, because it was like high technology and modern, but at the same time, if you wanted something more rough around the edges, more adventurous, they also have that. So you can have both, the best of both worlds. And Malaysia is also the hub of Air Asia. So Air Asia is a budget carrier that can take you to pretty much most of the Asian countries, and you can literally fly to another place for like $15. Okay, like imagine
Wow.
flying on an airplane for $15. It's like, holy crap, that's so cheap.
Yeah, that is cheap.
Yeah. So I mean, on average it's about $50, but it's still cheap, right, for to fly. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so it's like the hub for everything. And when I was there, it's like what was thinking. So when I was doing my research, it's kind of funny that I stumbled into Malaysia, because I thought nothing of the country before, like seriously
Oh,
nothing.
was it
It
okay?
was a bucket list country. I was gonna go there, check, get out.
Wait.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but that's why I like what I'm doing right now. That's why I like visiting all these countries, because
Mm.
I occasionally I would stumble into a gold mine, like a gold, like like in Malaysia was one of those gold mines. You know, the
Yeah.
other gold mine is Serbia. Most people don't think about that.
Oh,
Serbia
wow.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
Serbia is a fucking gold mine. That's if I were to do if I were to hire people for international business, I would go to Serbia right away. Like, you would be a dumbass not to go there. Oh my god, people would speak perfect English and you only pay them $400 a month. Oh my god, that is like a steal, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, and they're friendly too, and they work harder than like Western people, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
um yeah, but
Oh, wow.
anyways, regardless, I'm getting off tangent here. So yeah, Malaysia was like one of those like things that was like a gold mine. And like I said, after I did my research, after I went there, I had that like experience that I had, and how I fell in love with the country, and how I really wanted to live there. I did my research. I started looking at everyone who kind of has an international business. Oh my god, I was so shocked how many people of them were living in Malaysia to begin with already. Like that
Oh,
nomad
wow.
capitalist guy, he's
Yeah.
already in Malaysia. Like, that's one of his hubs.
Wow.
And like, if you're the kind of person that goes to like a lot of countries, like a lot of people that's been to 100 countries or more, they will tell you Colombia and Malaysia are like guaranteed to be the best of the best, like in terms of like where you would settle in. And I didn't even know this before, like researching those blogs and chat. Like I learned by accident, because I was in those places. Like I was in Colombia. The first question that all the backpackers ask is, because they get there and they're like, holy shit, there's so much opportunity in Colombia. And then they're like, so the first thing they would ask the hostel owners, like, how much does it cost to buy property here? You know, because they're like the wheels are turning, right? You go to a place, you're like, oh my god, there's so much opportunity here. Why would you not, invest? And yeah, no. So if you have like anywhere between like 100, so it costs more in Colombia. You need at least like I think 100 grand. So the barrier to entry is a lot. It's a bit higher. It's not impossible. 100 grand, I think, is doable to save up to. Yeah. But there is a barrier of entry for that. So, but the opportunity there is like insane. So, yeah, for me, I feel like I wish I had more capital because I'm leaving money on the table right now. It's like all this. I see all the opportunity, but I don't have the capital because I'm a stupid EP who didn't organize my funds over the years, and it's fine. I don't regret it because I have all this experience now, all this knowledge. But obviously, I have to start building up my capital now so I can do all this stuff that I want to do. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So like, okay, now that you kind of gain a lot of these experiences, what would be the ideal, apart from real estate and just property and whatnot, what would be the ideal business that you kind of create, like a physical one, if that makes sense, that you can turn into a physical one?
The physical business, I don't have anything innovative. I was just gonna buy a bunch of properties to rent out. Like that's pretty much it. Like I mean, the thing I was thinking about before the pandemic was I wanted to start my own hostel.
Okay.
But the pandemic revealed that is a bad idea.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of the hostels shut down, and I'm like, it's dangerous too. My original idea was to have a hostel that had a co-working space beside it.
Oh wow.
So that people who
that makes sense.
People who want to start a business online, they can stay in a hostel and then they can work in a co-working space. I think the co-working space idea is still viable, but and it's also low maintenance because you just need a desk, right, and like high-speed internet. So it's still viable. I'm not ruling it out, but in terms of actual like business that's physical, it would just be to rent a place out. Yeah, because like I think my ENFP mail will probably end up being my main business. Like
this channel.
Yeah, this channel will probably become the main one. From what like the progress I'm experiencing right now, it seems to be. Yeah.
Okay, and then the how often do you upload another one? The
travel one?
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing much. It's on average once a week, because like the pandemic revealed the vulnerability of that business. So before, I'm kind of like you. I had my own membership site that I was running, and people were paying me like an annual fee to be part of the membership for me to give them like travel hacks essentially. But I hated running it. I absolutely hated running it. I couldn't stand running it. Like I'm shutting shop this December. I already told all the members, I canceled all your memberships. December is gonna be the last video, and then we're done. There's no more. Okay. And then for that travel stuff, I'm gonna make it just more like passive. Like I make money from YouTube revenue, occasional consulting if people want to hire me. I put a high price too, so if people want to hire me, great. If they don't hire me, great. I don't care. It's like I don't really care. It's I'm doing it for me mostly. That's gonna be like a personal thing now, as opposed to like the main one, like business. Yeah.
Okay. We also do book reviews on that channel as well.
Book reviews?
Is it on that channel or on this channel?
This channel, I did a little bit. I did like just like 2 book reviews, I think. I have a third one coming up on Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life.
Okay, so the latest one was the Darren Brown one.
Yeah. I didn't like that one.
I watched it. I was like,
yeah. It's not for my type. For your type, for your type is good. I learned. Sorry.
Go on. You learned what?
No, I learned one good thing about that book though, which is like in life, no matter what you do, you end up in the same place. Whether bad or good, you're gonna end up in the same place. So now, like I really like when I do something now, I really think about it. I'm like, yeah, I can buy this new thing. I'll get like an emotional high from having a new, like, let's say a new tech. But then that high is gonna drop down. I'll be back to equilibrium. It's the same shit. It's the same shit, and it's annoying. But it's the same thing too. Like even if it's negative, right? Let's say like like whether you start a business and the business fucks up, or you ask a girl out, you get rejected, whatever you do, no matter how bad the experience is, dude, you're gonna go back to equilibrium no matter what. So it doesn't really matter what you do. So that's what I learned in the book. No matter what you do, you go back to equilibrium. So it doesn't really matter. So just do whatever you want. because you're gonna go back to equilibrium anyways. And
Okay.
I guess
Yeah.
don't chase. I had a talk with Dave about this actually in person during the meetup. We had this really good talk. Because I told him, because he said to me that these days he just wants to stay flat. He doesn't want to have like spikes of emotion anymore. I'm like, isn't it more fun to have that drama and spikes of emotion? He's like, yes, I agree with you 100%. The drama and it's more fun, but I'm not looking for fun anymore. That's what he said to me, you know. And at that point when I spoke to him, I was not on board with him yet. I knew what he was. I knew what he was saying, and I agree with it. But I felt like at that stage of my life, I still wanted the spikes of emotion.
Oh, so did you have to go through it yourself in order to kind of come to that conclusion?
Yeah, so I needed like 2 years of like spiking up and down before
That's
like
it.
before like now where I feel like now in my current life, I'm like, well, I think I'm good. I'm good with that. Like I've had my fill. I don't regret it, but I think it's time to dial down. I'm not saying I'm not gonna have any more spikes up and down. I'll have a few, but it won't be as frequent as before.
Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Because you seem like you consume a lot of books as well. Like, what would you say your top 5 books are, or do you consume books like that? Because you kind of quoted quite a lot here today.
Yeah, well, I mean, I used to read more than I do now because I realized after I read a lot of books, a lot of the new books I'm reading, they're pretty much a rehash of the ones I've read.
Literally everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
I realized that as well. So it's like,
yeah,
it's just
it's kind of annoying. Like even the business books are all rehashed now too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, six pillars of self-esteem. I think that's a must read for sure. Like that helped me, you know, boost up my self-esteem. And I always look back to that book every time I feel like my self-esteem is not where I want it to be. Another good book was Brene Brown's book called The Gifts of Imperfection. That's a really good book. That's a really, really good book. But I don't know if you'll relate. I think it's more like for FI people. But it's a really good book. I mean, I think it's still a good read. Because even with Darren Brown, I got that nugget out, right? So another good book would be The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. That's an amazing book. More from a practical standpoint. And another good book. There's a lot of good books. Alchemist. Oh, The Alchemist, the best fictional book I've ever read in my life. Yeah, definitely learn a lot about like NF. It's more an NF book. It's an NF book. So if I want to like figure out life purpose and stuff, because even though it's a story, you can translate the story into real life. You know, it's actually applicable because like you read it, but there is a story, but the wisdom is what you're after. The wisdom is what you can take with you. So the wisdom is what I take with me. And my goal to visit every single country in the world is directly tied from that wisdom, right? Because now when you're chasing a big goal for yourself, it doesn't really matter how bad your life is. You will never commit suicide or kill yourself or be in a depressive point, because you know there's always a North Star you're looking towards. So you cannot go no matter what. You have to complete this no matter what, you know. And I think that's like the biggest wisdom from the book. And they even tell you all the stuff all the experiences you'll have in your life where you feel like I'm comfortable enough, there's no point of moving forward. Because all those like road stops are all a lie. They're there to bait you, to make you feel like what you have is good enough. And it's a lie. It's a freaking lie. Because in the book, the protagonist got to a point where he had everything he wanted. He got the girl, he got the fame, he got the fortune. But deep down inside, he knew his mission wasn't finished. And like reading that, I'm like, oh my God, this happens to everyone. It probably would happen to me too. Like I would feel like my life is good. I finished it. It's like, nope. Why should I go through all this like hardship? Why should you go through all this hardship when you're already good? Because you're not finished. Your mission is not done. You need to finish what you started. Even if it means letting go of this thing that you already have that's so perfect, you know. That is a distraction. It's a lie, because the job is not done, you know.
Well, when did you read that one?
I read it back. I read it. Let me think. I was 30. I think I was 30 years old when I read it. So I'm 37, 7 years ago.
Okay, so what's the latest one you read? Oh, the latest one was the happy one by Darren Brown.
Oh, the last one I finished was the 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson.
Oh,
That's a really good audio
which one?
book.
What, the 12 movers? That one.
No, the first one, 12 Rules
Oh,
for
the
Life.
first one. Oh, okay, okay.
You read that one?
Yeah, I've got that book. Yeah,
Did you read it?
I haven't finished that book, but I've got the book.
Okay, you need to listen to the audiobook because the audiobook is fucking good.
Wait, does he narrate it himself?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay then. Okay.
Because he narrates it himself and you can hear him getting emotional during some parts of the book. I'm like, dude, this is so real. It's so authentic. I have goosebumps thinking about this. It's a long ass audiobook. It's like 18 hours or something. It was totally worth it. I'm like, after I listened to that one, because I just finished the Darren Brown one, right? And
Yeah.
and before the Darren Brown one, I listened to another one which was by
the Darren Brown one was happy. It was audiobook as well.
yeah, I did the audiobook one, and then
Okay,
the
and
one before Darren Brown, I did the one by Millionaire Fastlane and Unscripted. I think it's written by an INTJ guy. I hated that book. It was torture. And it got amazing reviews. So after I got through all those shitty books, no offense to Darren Brown, of course. After I finished the Jordan Peterson 12 Rules for Life audiobook, I said to myself, there is a God, because I was like, finally, because like people might say, oh, this is so disjointed. He's like going from one concept to the next. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is an NISI book. It's not an SENI book like Darren Brown, I have nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with NISE books. Okay. But you need to understand that there's like the author, the way they would write their stuff is different. So Jordan Peterson is an NE book, but his stuff is gold. It was the perfect example of SIFE. It was picture perfect. Like the way I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, this is step-by-step SIFE. If you are like an ISFJ or any of those type who don't, or ENTP, he just gave you the recipe on how to use all those functions. Like this guy is a genius, no wonder he's an alpha, right? Like and right now I'm listening to the Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink.
Jocko Willink. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm listening to audiobook too because he narrates himself. So
yeah. That was yeah.
Now that one is it's an SENI book, but it's a good book. It's good. I'm not finished yet, but it's so good. I love it. So I'm in a streak of good books right now. Yeah. I'm also reading that book by the Can't Hurt Me by
David Goggins.
Yeah. I'm reading that book. I'm reading the book right now because I always look to see if the book or audiobook is better. But I gave it some thought. I was like, should I pick the audiobook or the book? Well, I watched the interviews with David Goggins and I can't stand listening to him talk. Right.
And I get what you're saying.
He's so cringy. I can't stand it. But I feel like there's gold nuggets inside this NIFI.
Yeah.
NINF sleep. Have you read the book?
I haven't read it, but I've seen a lot of reviews. A lot of people talking about it. Yeah.
Oh, dude, this book is a gem. This book is it's like an ultimate book that everyone should read in their life. It's so dark. Like this book is dark and it's real. It's real. It's like real life shit. It's not like bullshit. It's real life stuff. And yeah, man, that's definitely. Oh man, that book is so good. Like
when did you read it? Did you say
I'm not finished yet? I'm still reading it right now.
Okay.
I'm in the process.
Oh, so that's the one you're physically reading, and then the one your audiobook you're reading now is Extreme Ownership.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The David Goggins one is like my girlfriend. She finished reading it, right? Her favorite. I'm not sure if it's her or my coworker, but there's a word that that David Goggins use. It's called the callous mind.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this guy's like, he's a genius, like no one would expect this guy to be a genius, I think, when he was growing up, but like he has like full wisdom, Yeah.
Oh. Wow. Have you ever thought about, what was I gonna say? Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, that's interesting. So do you plan your books, like the books you're gonna read, in advance, or do you just kind of just get reviews from other people and just kind of?
I have a mega list of books I want to read.
Okay, so do I, yeah.
But like I look at my current life circumstance and I read the one that I can use in a moment, because I feel like before I used to read books, but I'm like I can't relate because like I'm not experiencing
Yeah,
any of these right now.
yeah, same.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the books that I'm reading right now, like David Goggins and Jocko Willink, like for me it's relevant because they're like people that OPS has typed before and kind of considered as alphas. So I'm kind of studying the alphas. So right now I'm like going through like a phase where I'm like going through all the alphas book, like Darren Brown, Jocko Willink, Jordan Peterson, yeah, you know, those guys. So I'm trying to like study their life, study like I mean, definitely when I read the Darren Brown book, I was very impressed. Like I'm like I don't relate to the stuff he's saying except for the equilibrium thing, but like for his type to go all in, he's your type pretty much except double feminine, right?
yeah,
For him to go all in NT and he's calling the NF stuff bullshit, and that's his savior. Like, oh my god, no wonder David Chen loves him, because it's like he's going the opposite of his nature. He's going the
yeah,
opposite of you. Like if you were to go tell your NF blast to ST,
uh-huh.
fuck up, and he goes,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
straight to NT
yeah,
and NT only. Like, oh my god, like this guy has transcended a different level that you can't even imagine, because he was willing to do something that other types will never ever do. And like all these types that like Jordan Peterson, Jocko Willing, all these guys, they're all doing the same thing, right? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I see now. I like, but I don't want to just listen to what David Chan says on their videos. I actually want to see their own reference book that they created, and study directly from them. And for me, that was like, damn, like these guys, I think they're helping me create my own blueprint of how I'm gonna live my life. That's why I'm trying to focus on my SI right now, because I'm like, this SI and this SF shit, there's something into this. I need to
yeah, 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 yeah.
I need to take a deep dive. Like I even noticed I did my hair. Okay, this is so dumb, man. When the pandemic kind of started subsiding, and then my spin class started running again,
Yeah.
I only had one person come to my spin class, and that was my girlfriend. Okay, that's how sad it was. Okay, and then for a few weeks there was only like 4 people coming to my spin class. Okay, 4 people. Okay,
Uh-huh.
that's like really like low. And then I started doing my hair. Started doing my hair,
Uh-huh.
and now it's full to the maximum wait list. And I'd like to joke that it was my hair, but it's not maybe it's not a joke, like
maybe it's the maybe it's the thing.
yeah, no, it makes me so angry, because it reminded me too when I was like a teenager, and like no girl would talk to me because I was such a nerd, right? And then I remember when I was in grade 12, the last year of my high school, my friend dyed my hair blonde and made it spike up, and suddenly I was getting all this attention from. I'm like, I didn't change my personality, I just changed my hair.
Oh right.
And it made me angry to think how like you change your physical appearance and suddenly you are more important. Like it just made me so angry.
Yeah.
But that's the truth about life, though. It's the truth. So even though I did a little bit of SF, I just did my hair when I teach spin. I already saw the result, so I'm like, okay, I need to shut down this NT stuff. Okay, I already know enough NT. I don't need any more. I need to go to this SF stuff. For you, it's the opposite. You need to shut up the NF and go to the NT. Yeah. So I'm like, it's so painful to go work on that fourth one, but it's like, the answer is there. You just need to do it. It's just like, are you willing to do the thing that no one else wants to do? And I'm like, I'm dying, but like, okay, let's do this.
That's so interesting. I was gonna ask you about, okay, so how do you how do you find the time to do the book consuming? Like, when do you read? What time do you read? And how? Yeah.
Right now the book one is on hold because I'm having like family issues, so I put it on hold in a moment. The family issue should be resolved next week. Basically, it's a inheritance dispute. I'm the mediator because I'm the double decider.
Okay.
And like so after I get rid of that annoying pain thing, I usually read the book before bed.
Okay.
I got a Kindle because I can see it in the dark. And the audiobook, I listen to it when I drive or I work out. So yeah. But I don't always do it. Sometimes I feel like I don't want to have anything on, but sometimes I feel like I want something on. So when I want something on, I listen to it. So I'm not listening to it quickly right now. Like maybe I'll listen to it like once a week right now. So it's going slower, but I'm okay with it. It's fine.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. So do you do you watch like TV shows, movies, films? Like, what's
Yeah.
your favorite?
I
And,
like the
in ter-
MCU stuff, like MCU stuff, like Marvel, like Avengers, like all that stuff. I like that stuff for movies.
uh-huh.
TV shows.
Or even any other form of entertainment.
Yeah,
How
I
often
watch
do you?
like I watch anime. I watch Dragon Ball Super. I like Boruto, the new one, the kid.
Okay.
Um,
That's anime.
Anime. Yeah, yeah. You know Naruto?
I know of it, but I don't watch anime myself. But yeah, I know of it
No,
too.
I don't like anime that much, but I like those two. Yeah, you know,
Okay.
Dragon Ball and Naruto. That's the only two I watch. I don't watch the other ones.
Okay.
I used to watch One Piece a little bit, but
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, no, I like uh yeah, I like watching WWE wrestling. That's my favorite. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Do you still watch it?
yeah, no, I fucking love that shit, man. I love,
The
yeah,
wrestling. Okay.
yeah. People say it's fake. I'm like, I don't
But
care. It's fake. You know,
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
like I used to watch it in my employee lounge, like at work. I would turn on, start watching it. People start making fun of me, right?
Mhm.
Like, you know, that's fake, right? I'm like, yeah. Why you? So why did you stay here and watch also? So obviously, everyone likes it. You know,
Yeah.
I used to have this female coworker that used to go up to me. He's like, "Hey, Kendrick, are you going on your break?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you gonna watch wrestling?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can I come with you?" I'm like, "Yeah." You know, like
Uh-huh.
yeah. I watch
Oh wow.
UFC. I like UFC also. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I'm a big UFC guy. I like UFC. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
I
do you know
watch
when you?
NBA. I like NBA also.
Okay. So when you watch wrestling, do you kind of imagine yourself within their position?
I used to do it when I was a kid. I used to wrestle my sisters, my cousins, my classmates in school.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the thing
yeah,
you was playing when you was talking about earlier, the grappling and whatnot.
yeah. I know. I mean, even in PE, we had a wrestling tournament, and
Uh-huh.
I made it to the finals, even though I was a nerd. Because I
Uh-huh.
for some reason I was good at it. You know, I was
Uh-huh.
like beating
Uh-huh.
people that was like athletic. I wasn't even athletic, but I knew
Uh-huh.
how to control my body because I used to watch WWE wrestling so much.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know what to say, man. I was good at it.
That's interesting.
I watch it and I don't do it now, obviously, but but lately I've been looking for like a martial arts studio to join. So
Mhm.
I'm like yesterday I tried a Muay Thai class and yeah, it
Oh
was,
yes. Oh yesterday.
yeah, I went to try Muay Thai and it was hard. I was really scared. I was intimidated. You know,
Okay.
all this like all these jack guys who are like probably like lead SE. They're like smashing the mats. You know, I
uh
feel like such a wimp. Like I held the mat for them. They kick it so hard. I'm like, oh, I hurt my
Oh.
finger. I feel like such a wimp. But I feel like, okay, I need to do this. I need to like man up. I feel like I'm such a pussy. You know,
Oh,
like
so you're gonna continue that Muay Thai class?
um, I don't. I will, but not that studio. I think I'm gonna go find a studio that has the right vibe that I like. That
Okay.
one I didn't like that they didn't have a structure. Like
Oh, it's just like you just come in and just.
yeah, you just do whatever. Like, the instructor was nice and the people there were nice overall, but like I'm looking for like a structure. I want to build, you know, like because like I'm an EP, I don't build, right? So I want to build. I want a black belt. So I want to start from white belt and work my way up to black belt. That's what
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And you have to travel. Like, how far was it from your house, from your location?
It was far. That's why I did. That's why I didn't want the location.
Oh,
It was a
okay.
long drive. So I was like, I want something closer, like an easy drive, and yeah.
Okay.
But dude, we got a wrap the interview. We've been talking for like 2.5 hours now. So I gotta yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we can do it like when I do a panel interview, I can call you up and we can get you to come in because
Cool.
I'm planning another panel interview anyway. So
Uh-huh.
I'll hit you up and we can get like
Cool.
the INFJ, ENFJ, ISTP, and ESTP together.
Cool.
All right, cool, man. Thanks for this interview. You switch it around. You start interviewing me. And I was like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're
yeah. You hijack it like that other guy interviewed the ESTP guy recently.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, no, it's good though. I enjoy talking to you, so it's fine.
Yeah, no problem. No
All
problem.
right, man. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll talk to you sometime soon. Okay.
You too, no problem.
See ya.